Good evening, race fans. Live from the World Center of Racing to Daytona International Speedway comes the official kickoff of Season 4 of the iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series. Back at it again on LSRTV. It is the iSuperSpeedway 500K. We're in the hot Daytona Beach sun, and we're glad to have you with us on this Friday evening alongside myself, Evan Pasoko, PDJ Zeller, up at the broadcast booth. BD, we have really never left this racetrack for almost a month now, from the championship through the duels, through the shootout, and all of that. Already 2 winner stickers and 2 possible tickets to the championship have been handed out, but tonight is the main event for a total of 124 laps around this 2.5-mile super speedway, tallying in at 310 miles or 500 kilometers total length, and this is the highlight event of the Season 4 campaign, the Super Bowl of this series, and it's the first official race of the season. Nothing can really prepare you for this. 40 cars going to be chasing down the checkered flag when it is all said and done.
It should be a whole lot of excitement. After the dual races, we watched Elliott Leach and Rodney Wofford win them, so they'll be on your front row tonight, obviously, but it will get exciting here from Daytona. And Evan, as we get ready to go down through the grid, I mean, the IROC race just finished up, and that was an exciting one that Jorgensen won, and well, it's time to go racing. 500 kilometers tonight should be a whole lot of fun. Watch out for all these guys. They roll off at me.
If the field rolls, let's let you know where at least the top few of them stack up. The front row, the number 42 of Elliott Leach on pole position. The number 7 of Rodney Wofford will start second on the outside of the front row. Those are the 2 drivers that 1 week ago here at Daytona International Speedway walked away with the checkered flags in the iSuper duels. Those wins do count towards chase eligibility and have essentially guaranteed themselves a spot in the iSuper Chase, which, by the way, features eliminations this season. A lot to talk about this evening. Rounding out the top 10, P3, you got Robbie Roy, Josh Ball 4th, Rod Flanagan 5th, 6th is Mark Jorgensen Jr., 7th, Michael Lathrop, Frank Busilia the 3rd, and 8th, 9th is Shane McEachin and Casey Pierce to round out your top 10.
11th, Dan Harrington. 12th, a past champion, Branch Burke. 13th, Matt Bontempi. 14th, Ray Rittenauer. 2nd. 15th, Jason Altman. 16th, Tony Fenn. 17th, Sean Turner. 18th is Ramon Evans. 19th, Donnie Garantano. And 20th, Brogan Lott. And we're getting ready to go green here, Evan.
You'll see the full standings as they go across the ticker, as well as the running order, but 40 machines are set to go back at it. These guys have had significant more experience with this new draft build, a little bit of setup changes, but the rules are still the same. You can't push in the corner, you can't push in the trial, and that is what makes this league so difficult to get to the back from the pound. It is pack racing at its finest. We're glad to have you with us on LSRTV. The pace car ducks down and away. Green flag flies in the iSuperSpeedway 500K from Daytona. The Season 4 campaign officially underway as the field goes 2 abreast down to quarter number 1.
Door to door, they race in the corner number 1. Elliott Leach and Rodney Wofford race off here. Last time Rodney Wofford touched the racetrack before Daytona was the finale in Florida 400, where he had iRacing kind of give him problems that cost him the title. He wants redemption this season, and he wants to get up front and lead some laps in the 500K. So as these guys all go flying down the back stretch here, we have a lot of team help going on right now with those first 2 rows there. Looking back a little bit further, looking at Rod Flagg, that 26 looks like he wants to get in line as they still race for that lead, and he does find a way to get in the line on the low side. Now he will try to chase down Robbie Roy in that number 14. First car he can get to, his teammate Frank Busilia the 3rd, looks to help him get up there. That's a stacked team right there, 2 past champions. They want to help each other get to victory lane, and Rod Flagg in his new number, he just wants to find a way to victory lane here tonight. So is a right now change for the lead. Rodney Wofford clear, but he's going to wait on Josh Ball as they continue to duel.
And that inside is the freight train everywhere but about the top 4 spots, which is where that first and really one of the only major outside lane charges is located. The 7 and the 48 working together. They decide that that's not really going to work out all that well. First car to duck down in line is that 48 machine of Josh Ball. He tucks in behind the 7 Rodney Wofford, and now it is single file all the way through this field. Well, to outside of the top 20, which is where we find the first real pack of action back on track. These cars, 2.1 seconds off of the top spots as they run right now. The 09 car is the first person trying to make something work. He's got the 088 right in front of him. That is William Roberts Jr. back in 25th. he ducks down in line. And again, this is that new drafting package where it'll single file things off in these first couple of laps right off of a restart. Once you get that momentum going, once you get a couple of cars stacked up in line, you can see that you'll be able to get 2 wide, 3 wide, and be able to hold those outside positions. But this is just a process, and to get into that spot, the lead group looks to be about 12 or 13 cars long. Really, that secondary pack is not all that far back, 1.7 off the top spot, but really spread out on the opening laps of this race. Lap 3 will go in favor of your pole sitter, the 42 car, Elliott Leach at the stripe, still on point.
Yeah, Elliott Leach still up front in that 42, and this thing single file out. I want to look back at some of the guys we get a chance to talk about. The number 32, Seth the Merchant, he will start. He started 22nd, already up to 18th. I really feel confident about that 32. He looked very strong in the duels. He made another incredible Seth the Merchant save that kept him out of wrecking, and right now he sits there in 18th. Look for him to make a run up front. Him and Rodney Wofford usually work with each other, so we'll see what those two can do together, but I really like the looks of that 32 car here in Speed Week so far, and don't be surprised if he finds a way to the front here. And looking a little bit more forward, everything is now single filed out in the lead. That number 3 of Brand Chaburko is running P9. I really like the way he's looking at the moment. He's trying to make a move here. I've seen him dodge in and out between the outside line and inside line, and his buddy Mark Jorgensen Jr. in that number 88 looks like he really wants to go with him. But the 88 and 3 just can't find their really groove yet to make a line happen on the outside line. But I'm sure before long, we'll see a lot of guys trying to make things happen up there, and that will really add to the excitement here tonight as everyone gets back up in this lead pack. Still 13 cars strong as we go on board with Brand Chaburko here. So a lot of single file. Actually, like I said, Evan, here comes the 88 and 3. I figured they'd do it eventually, and here they go.
And to the outside they go from just inside of the top 10 running positions. The number 88 Nationwide Insurance Chevrolet, entry one of the fan favorites, Mark Jorgensen Jr. Not all that long ago on the tail end of Season 3. Put that Chevy in victory lane right here at Daytona International Speedway. Has a good name behind him with the push, and it's the Krispy Kreme entry, the 3 machine. Brandon Chaburko pushing him, but look at that. More people want to join the party. And again, the outside works, but you need some support. 48 car jumps up to the outside lane. That was Josh Mulligan. Remember, he and Rodney Wofford were working the outside, couldn't do anything, ducked down in line. The 48 wants to get something going. He jumps up high behind them. Wicked paint job on that number 28 of Shane McKeechan. He's tailing along as well, and the Haviland Ford entry right behind Chaburko ducks back in line. But you see the 48 and 88 a little bit far away. Once they get close, you'll see that outside lane start to move forward, but it really is all about momentum. You need some cars up high if you want to make it work, and when you do get those cars, very possible to get those runs on those guys down on the inside.
Yeah, and right now Josh Paul's really trying to get that side draft off Frank Bustilli, and it works to get a little bit of a run here. Here comes that outside line charging hard on these guys. They are door-to-door with last season champion Rod Flagg in that 26, and Rod Flagg's looking strong already in this race and this season. We have a couple of stragglers, Richard Holiday in the 03, Casey Pierce in the 05, just trying to update you on really who's lost the draft as this battle still rages up front. But here comes now the 48 of Josh Paul. He has a huge run. The 14 of Robbie Roy is pushing him. And he's tied by side with Robbie Roy. Sorry, gotta get used to these numbers again. There's been a couple number chases in the offseason, but the Handrick teammates on the outside, the 48 and 88, they're trying to get done with a lot of help from Brand Chaburko, who's back after an iRacing suspension, and he's looking to try to get done with 500K. And early on this outside line, I've liked the looks of it. If they can get 3 or 4 cars up there, they've really been able to make some moves. As we have 3 wide action back here with the number 19 of Brogan Lant.
I guess technically that fight is just on the inside of the top 20 as they run right now. You see the 19 of Brogan Lant right behind him, the 83 of Remote Evans. How about up on that high side, though, the number 31 car of Chris Passini. Now, you'll notice a couple of cars with the orange numbers, the 48, one of them up front. For those that are new, that is the I-5 bonus. To explain that, the top 5 drivers from the most previous championship points-paying event are able to fight for $5 bonus each week if they are able to finish in the top 5 and then possibly take home the checkered flag rather the following week. If nobody does claim that checkered flag that was the top 5 spot, well, $5 gets added onto it. Currently up for grabs is $20. Eligible for the drivers are Donnie Giratano in the number 2, the 31 of Chris Passini, the 40 of Josh Paul, talked about those two, Dan Harrington in the 82, and then Greg Cooks in the number 98. Those are the 5 cars that are able to walk away if they win with that $20 bonus. If they don't, 25, 30, and we saw that number get quite high in the latter stages of Season 3, where Brandon Chaburko ended up walking away with a nice payout at the end of the night right here at Daytona. One car slow already in early stages, and that is Richard Holiday. That car way up against the outside retaining wall and is already going to lose one lap in this race. He'll fall actually now 4 down total. 3 wide getting around him as you have those two Henrik entries. The 48 and the 88 split the middle, no issue there. And the 03 car ducks in behind that lead pack.
Richard Holiday missed the start here, started 3 laps down. Tough break for him, but hey, he's the only car lap down right now. He can try to get those back, but he's going to allow Casey Pierce not to get lapped. And a little bit different here with the I-5 this week. Like you said, most of the time it is the last points paying event that does give you the I-5 bonus, but the duels last week were points paying events, which a lot of us didn't even know, but it was really a cool thing there. The duels did give you points, but the I-5 bonus goes back to the finale in Florida for this race. So if you won your duel, that really doesn't mean much. You're not eligible for the I-5. So all these guys out here just battling right now, trying to outside line, really trying to get something going here, but they haven't found their leader yet. Usually with the outside line, there is a good, strong leader, and I think Brandon Chaburko is the driver who could lead that outside line to the front, but no one seems to want to stick with him. Actually, here comes Shane McEachin, that number 28 Haviline machine. You might be confused because you're probably used to seeing that number 20 machine, but nope, he is now the 28, and, well, 28, 20, and McEachin's always fast. Same with Brandon Chaburko, whether it's Krispy Kreme or Goodwrench, and new paint schemes, new numbers, new season here. A whole lot of that up front right now. We're trying to figure out who's who, but hey, by the end of the season, I'm sure everything will just make sense to all of us, of course. And here we go, another car going a lap down. That's Casey Pierce in the 05, Brandon Chaburko's usual drafting partner. So I was kind of surprised that Chaburko didn't try to pick him up, but that didn't work out. So here we go. Chaburko now is a run, and he is battling for P4.
And at 05, DuPont Automotive finishes Chevrolet SS is going to have to duck back in line behind that lead pack, much like we saw Richard Holiday attempt to do. And because the draft is so sensitive, it's hard enough if you're a guy that's even in this, like that 21 of Ray Rittenau in the second, who is just hanging on for dear life as he runs right now P10, has help from the 28 of Shane McEachin, because it is very easy to fall off of the draft in the car in front of you. And now you see Brandon Chaburko in that number 3 car, ducking back to the inside lane. He will slide back, pick up that 05 machine, and try to assist Casey to the point where that 05 is good by 3 laps right now, because the only other car off the lead lap is 4 laps down. That's the 03 Richard Holiday, but going to help that 05 out to the point that if we see a caution flag, that 05 is going to be in a lucky dog spot, can get on the lead lap, and because of the fact that they've worked together and have in the past and obviously plan to moving forward into the Season 4 campaign, may be able to fight back up to the field together and make something happen. You talk about new numbers, new paint schemes. How about quote-unquote new teams? Not really a major shift as far as who's with who, but the way it works is big difference, because now teams are actually limited to the amount of drivers that they can have, and there are legitimate team championship standings moving forward. So as opposed to having last season when you just had 12 of your buddies down in one team channel and you're all working together, you're now capped at 4. Some of the major teams to note: BBH Motorsports, you got Big Block Motorsports, Big City Motorsports, Chicken Wing Motorsports, H&H Motorsports. That's just Corey Henry on his own. You got Henrik, Hold Your Line, North Star, Overdrive Performance, Rod Flagway, Rowdy Boys, and a whole many more. All of this information is at iSuperSpeedway.com/teams. We'll talk about that as the season progresses. Teammates working together, the team championships, and all that good stuff. But now it's really going to be highlighted moving into the Season 4 campaign, seeing those teams work together, because now not only do they want to help each other out, but it doesn't hurt to win a team championship either.
No, it really doesn't, and it's funny, because you think that would just kill off the big team clusters and TeamSpeak, but no, teams now have alliances, so there's still big TeamSpeak channels, but I guess it's a little bit more organized now. And to update you on new numbers and new paint schemes, really, Rod Flagg switched his number to 26, Ray Rittenauer switched to number 21 for the season. As I said, Shane McEachin switched to 28, Jared Haggerty switched to number 23, Matt Bontempi switched to number 20, and that's really it. You're going to see a couple new faces too as well, Kyle Geary in the 45, and the number 38, Jeff Figlin. So those are just a few new faces and going places so far in this races. And, well, really, I mean, the new numbers will get confusing, but I'm sure by the end of the season we'll forget the original numbers that ever existed, except for, of course, Rod Flagg and that number 23. We can never forget the historic season he had last season, winning the title, but he's going to try to do it again, rewrite history in his Johnny Benson throwback scheme. You got to love that, getting a little NASCAR history up in here with his favorite driver, Johnny Benson. So right now, looking through this field, everything's single file really in this lead pack. I mean, you have Chaburko and the 05 of Casey Pierce trying to figure out what they want to do. Matt Bontempi, Sean Turner, and Jason Oltmans, those three are trying to catch back with the lead draft, and they're actually flying right now. They're doing a good job, and I shouldn't just say them because Donnie Garantano and Seth the Merchant are as well trying to catch up, and they're doing a fine job right now. I really like the way that 32 looks so far in this race. He's made some solid moves. You got to keep your eye on Seth the Merchant, I'm telling you. He's made for big races like this. But right now, everything's single file, just trying to figure out where you belong. Get your tires cooled down. 16 laps into this race, just halfway through a fuel run here, and, well, we're getting there. The lead pack is starting to get a little bit more frisky. I see some guys starting to jump high, think about making moves, dive back down low. Before you know it, those guys will be staying up high when they go there.
Yeah, this is the commonest we've actually seen these leaders all race long, because again, on the start, you were kind of forced to get down to the inside line. We had a couple of people try it, didn't work. Once everybody kind of caught back up, you saw a resurgence. The outside lane made something happen to a description. Nothing really came from it, and that is why the car that sits in the top spot is exactly the car that started there. The 42 of Elliott Leach, as you would expect. The car that started third right behind him, Robbie Roy, working right in with him as there. So two teammates, the 42 and the 14 up in the front row. The 7 slid back into third position. But again, a lot of single file. Again, that is because we are not in our normal format as far as the B main and the A main feature events. It is one of our 4 endurance races we will see on this 2015 Season 4 campaign. 124 laps on tap tonight at the Daytona International Speedway. Lap times just in the range of about 45 seconds per lap down there in the draft. It's a long way to go from the start. Still a long way to go as we work lap 18 of that total of 124. We'll count it down to 100 to go at about 6 or 7 laps or so. But again, it is an endurance race. You need to kind of pace yourselves. 2 cars that don't want to sit around much longer. Can't be surprised. It's a set of teammates. Everybody really stack it up. It's a little bit of a checkup down there in 3 and 4. The 88 of Mark Jorgensen Jr. has help. That's the 40 to Josh Ball right behind him. 2 Henrik cars trying the outside lane inside the top 10 at the stripe.
Right now, I am looking at those leaders, though. They have done a great job defending. Really, the 3 leaders. Rodney Wofford's kind of worked with them BBM cars so far, but 42, 14, 7 have done a great job holding them top 3 spots so far this race. And, well, they've had some challengers, but they've done a good job defending them. Here comes another big challenger, Mark Jorgensen Jr. in the 88. He won the IROC race earlier. Confidence isn't an issue for him. It's just keeping that car in one piece. And, well, Daytona's a good track for Mark. Mark has all 4 of his iSuperSpeedway feature wins here, and I mean, historically, he's done really well here. I remember at the end of last season when he won 5 straight poles, and I mean, he's going to try to do, he said he wants to keep the streak alive when we get back to normal qualifying procedures here, so we'll see if he can manage to do that. But as of right now, he is trying to get up front, and his teammate ditches him. That doesn't help him, but there is a hole for him. Mark Jorgensen Jr. will slide into the 4th position. Moving back, the teammates of Rodway Racing is Rod Flagg and Frank Buscelia are going to move back to 7th and 8th as of right now. So just a little bit of shuffling going on up here, just a little bit of friendly racing, and that's really all that's happening right now. This lead pack is about, I'd say 15 cars strong, because the cars that are straggled back a little bit still have the draftable leaguers, so they could get there easily despite them being 1.3 seconds back. So we'll keep our eyes on them, and, well, single file action continues to ensue. One thing you have to look at this season is historically this series only visits Daytona and Talladega. Well, this season, they're continuing that trend, but they're adding the addition of Daytona 2007, which is basically the old scanned version of Daytona on iRacing that is really rough and rugged. There's a ton of bumps, as we hear there's a car on the apron. I think it was the 06 of Doug Sigmund. But just to finalize that thought, it's really a lot of bumps. We won't be seeing any bumping whatsoever. It should be a lot of fun. So please, you won't want to mess with them races, folks. They should be a lot of excitement, especially with these guys.
And now, one of the many changes, we have chase elimination rounds and so much more to talk about. But as we have passed the 20-lap mark in this race, and it is still all the 42 of Elliott Leach, we're going to step away for the first time tonight and take our first caution flag as everything on track remains clean and green. The leaders work around the 06 machine, who's going to fall down 1 lap, so that puts Doug Sigmund into the lucky dog position. You're watching the iSuperSpeedway.com racing series, iSuperSpeedway 500K. From the World Center of Racing into Daytona International Speedway, we're glad to have you with us to get this Season 4 campaign kicked off on LSRTV. Go grab a drink, come right back. More great plate track action as we're still green on the other side of this break. Welcome back live from the World Center of Racing to Daytona International Speedway up at the LSRTV broadcast booth alongside myself, Evan Pasoko, PDJ Zeller, working the cameras as always, Laura Lawson. Glad to have you with us on LSRTV for the start of the Season 4 campaign. Make sure to use the hashtag LSRTV on Twitter and see your tweets on race and all that good stuff come up on the broadcast. We have passed the 100 to go mark as lap 26 of 124 is in the works and the single file freight train at the front of the field continues, except for, remember that 3 of Brandon Chaburko that dropped back to get with his buddy that had just fallen off at a lead lap. Well, that duo, who as we expected them to be able to work good, is coming back through the field. Small thought, I guess, to the outside. The 88 and the 48 thought about it. 88's going to stay up there. Chaburko and Pierce, though, working the outside lane. Right now, again, that 05 car, though he's fighting with the leaders as we go 3 wide, is a lap down. If Chaburko can bring him all the way around to the front, he could unlap himself the old school way and contact the 88 into the 3 car. Big checkup. Rod Flag gets checked down to the apron. Everybody hangs on. And Rod Flag in that new-looking number 26 machine is slowed out of back straightaway. He'll blend back up into traffic after he, the 88, and the 3 all bounced off each other. No caution, but that does slow down Rod Flag, and he'll lose that group that he was driving with, slowly getting back up to speed, but losing all that momentum that he had gained from being right in that draft. Replay going to be up in a moment.
Yeah, top 5 are now gone, although everyone's catching back up. Brandon Chaburko better pulling the line, or that could be an issue. Rod Flag, what a wild ride he went on. He almost hit that curbing and destroyed his splitter. That one went bad, and man, you got to look at that. I mean, Mark Jorgensen just got dead sideways. So we're going to continue on, though, and they're going to put another car lap down. That's Jared Haggerty in the 23, who's had a rough start to this event. And now as we look at everyone, here comes to the outside again, the 05 and the 3. Brandon Chaburko wants to take them Krispy Kreme donuts to the top spot, and he's going to do all he can to manage it, although it's going to be hard. There's just 2 cars, but it's 2 versus 3, so it is doable here as we watch the 05 of Casey Pierce and Brandon Chaburko try to make it happen here. And Rodney Wofford's losing the draft to those 2 leaders. They're trying to push each other a little bit harder now that they see people coming in. They're going to hang on as of right now. So I'm really looking at 3, though. If that 3 can clear Elliott Leach and Robbie Roy, man, he's going to have some fun defensive driving, especially with his front Casey Pierce up there. But this lead pack, well, we're about 15 cars strong now if Jared Haggerty can latch on. So Rod Flag has lost the draft. He'll probably hook on somewhere near Greg Hooks, and that's going to really shuffle up things as we watch Brandon Chaburko pulling the line, and now Casey Pierce is left out front.
And going to be closing in not too far from now on our first trip down to the pit lane as well in this iSuperSpeedway 500K from Daytona. Again, currently closing in lap 30. Going to be kicking off here soon. And the 3 and the 3 car, Brandon Chaburko, I've been talking about him up on the outside lane with that 05, continue to be the only cars that are up there, but they're able to make that work. They haven't gone out there, kind of made a 2-lap push for it and then been forced to duck down in line. The 05's constantly getting air when they're not allowed to push in the corners, gets back to the bumper as much as he can, and as well, equally as important, Chaburko to lift a little, allow that 05 to get to his bumper, push him down those straightaways, and you see once they get hooked up, such a speed difference over the 14 and the 42, who again aren't really making this big plan to be able to get those runs coming off the corner, which the outside lane does have an advantage on compared to the inside. When you come down the bank and you hit one of these long straightaways, that's where they get that wicked run from. The 14's been able to just kind of hang out, but he's smart, and Robbie Roy's looking. He knows that when that 3 and the 05 get close, he'll get up, give the 42 a push, try to defend, then back it off and get some more air to the nose of that car. But the 3 and the 05 aren't going anywhere anytime soon. Pierce thought about leaving the 3 car, but wouldn't have imagined that happening. And now they get really separated by about a car length. And as they try to get hooked back up with each other, that's going to cost them a lot of time. Looks like the 05 is hot. He is sticking a nose out to the outside wall, gasping for air. And now that 3 car is actually going to drop down using the middle lane to get behind him so that Chaburko can outpush the 86 car way up the hill, get to the Chaburko sideways. Michael Lathrop, there he goes in the middle of the corner. The 94 of Frank Busilia, the 20. It appears is also involved. Matt Bontempi comes plowing into the back of that, and that was a very strange incident. Lathrop, PD, just drifted up the hill into the 3 and the 05. Tried about 3-4 times the Kyle Busch save. It eventually went around, and Busilia and that 20 car involved in this one as caution flies at a corner 4.
I thought for sure he had that thing saved with the apron, but the 86 just hit it, came up the track into the 3 of Chaburko, almost hit Chaburko, hit the 05, saved it on the apron, almost saved it. saved again. This just finally lost it. Got Frank Bustilli came up into a map on Tempe involved. Just a little 3-car accident here, and that will bring out the first caution of this event. So far, every lap's been led by Elliott Leach and Robbie Roy, and well, this has been a very exciting first run. Now we see what everyone's doing on a good run. Let's see how these pit stops go. Everyone will be coming down. It'll just be a matter of who has the best pit stop here as you guys get to see the replay.
Yeah, the replay up full screen now. You can again see, and we were with it live when that happened. Just slid up there, made some contact, and was trying to hang on to it, but that race car eventually went around. And no, major contact, but Frank, as well as that 20-car right behind him, with really nowhere to go, and just kind of, bounced into them. They didn't go hard into the fence and anybody else, so you can really limit it to a 3-car incident, but Matt Bontempi as well as Frank Bustilli, wrong place at the wrong time. Look at this, side by side down to the pit lane, the 14-car. Going to go to the inside, a little bit of a strategy call, and the fact that Robbie Roy's pit stall is going to be before Elliott Leach's. So the 14 car goes to the inside, the 42 remains up on the outside part of the racetrack. That way they can both get a nice clean entry. Our leaders are down to the pit lane. Don't expect anything wild to go down on this set of stops. The 42's coming in, right side tires going up, as this is the first time our race leaders, pretty much everybody in the field, has hit pit lane. Left side's going to go up as well. A little bit of a shuffle at the front of the field. It's a 4-tire call for the 42 car, not for a lot of other people. First car off the pit lane. How about the 7 and Rodney Wofford with 2 tires? 2 tires on Jorgensen, Ball, Flag, and a whole handful of others, only taking 2 Goodyear Eagles as opposed to 4 that was opted by our teammate who came down in the top spot. That 42 car initially led us down to the pit lane.
Yeah, and that'll be very interesting to see how that works out for them. Actually am really curious to see how that works out for them, because old tires, I do believe, will work for a little while. The left sides might be okay, but after about halfway through the pit run, I'd say about 20 laps in, those left sides are going to get extremely worn, probably near the 50% range left in the tread. So if these guys stay, if we get another long run here, I really think it's going to affect them guys. They're going to start to get really tight. All the guys who took 4 tires are just going to go flying by them. I've seen it happen many times before, but these guys are banking on about a half a run here, and that's not too bad of a bet. We might see another wreck here, so this could very well work out for them, and we'll see which strategy ends up prevailing here as we're still live here on LSRTV for the second, well, technically this is the 3rd race of the season, but really this is the opener for all these guys. They consider this the opener. The shootout didn't count for points. It was just a fun race. The duels counted for points, but not everyone was in there. This is the first race where everyone is here racing for points, and well, it is bound to be exciting as we are getting ready for a restart here, and it should bring us to a lot of action here. I'll be excited to see who gets the top spot. One thing I noticed, Rodney Wofford doesn't have a lot of friends up there. It seems as though everyone's almost like allianced against him in this top group here, because you have the Hanra cars, you have the BBM cars. Rod Flake has Frank Bustilli not too far back. Really, his closest friend will be the 7th place driver of Seth the Merchant, but that's a little too far for the leader to get help from, so we'll see what comes out of it.
Still a little bit of ways from the restart as the lights do remain on top of the iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car. For those that weren't with us 1 week ago with the iSuper duels at Daytona that set the field for this evening's race, again, it was the drivers who started up front in this one that were the drivers that won the duels, with Elliott Leach taking home the checkered flag in duel number 1 and duel number 2. Both of those were 30-lap affairs, went in favor of Rodney Wofford. So there are championship standings entering this, although this is the first official, I guess we'll call it, championship race, because it is round 1. Going into this, you're taking a look at the championship standings from 1 season ago, where Rod Flagg took home his first championship by 19. And actually, it is the updated points entering this event. And you can see that those 2 cars up at the top of the pile with wins. Interestingly enough, that the car that is actually second in those championship standings without a win, Josh Ball, equally as many. But the main thing here, PD, is the win and you're in. They introduced this into this championship 1 season ago with a 5-race chase for the championship. Things are a lot different entering the Season 4 campaign. Not only did we add 2 races at the old version, I guess not the new pave at the Daytona International Speedway, the Circa 07 circuit, but there are now chase eliminations where we take all the drivers that get into the championship, which are all the winners in the 13 points paying events, plus any driver that is in the top 5 of the championship points with or without a win. Those are the drivers that are eligible for the championship. After the first 2 championship races, we cut that field down to 6. After 2 more, we cut that down to 3. And then 3 drivers will head right back to this very Daytona International Speedway much later on in the year. And those 3 drivers, whoever finishes higher, walks away with big hardware. If you're a fan of stats, it should be Greg Hooks, because every single season, the runner-up from the previous year took home the championship the following year, and Greg Hooks took home second in last season's points. So if you're a fan of numbers, Greg Hooks should be the quote-unquote favorite, but that is really going to get intense when we get down to those 5 races.
Really will get intense, and well, Elliott Leach is locked in, Rodney Wofford's locked in, so 2 drivers are already locked in, and well, I guess they're just here racing for fun almost, because you won the duels and you're in the chase, so they didn't have to put a whole lot of effort into the season. They got it done before really the season kicked off for, I guess, not technically, but feels like it's kicking off tonight. As the pace car leads into turns 3 and 4, we're looking to get our race back here under green. The top 4, 2 tires. Everyone else, 4 tires. Should be exciting to see who's going to get it here on the restart. Looking back, 2 cars got back on the lead lap. Actually, it was 3. Casey Pierce, Jared Haggerty, and Doug Sigmund all got their laps back here. So congratulations to them. Richard Holiday also received 1 lap back. And well, off of turn number 4, Brett Bodine's looking to wave goodbye to the field. Get him back under green for our first American Ethanol restart of the event. Rodney Wofford really looking to get a good restart here, trying to redeem himself from last season. And as the green flag drops, Rodney Wofford with a great restart here, and everyone is back underway, trying to get up to full speed here as the 88 and 48 are trying to find each other. And the 3 on the apron, that's Brandon Chaburko. I think he's fallen back to his old buddy, the 05 of Casey Pierce. Watch for those 2 to come to the field.
Very interesting way to do so with left side tires down in the grass. And how about that 4 wide, because they were side by side on the apron with the number 21 car. Right now, but the second was down there, slowed, still waiting to be able to blend back up the racing surface after he was down on the pit lane. That was probably closer than Chaburko would have liked, but this time a lot more side-by-side action inside of the top 10 down to quarter 3. The inside lane not pushing. Look at the move by the 32 of Seth the Merchant, squeezing in line behind the 48 of Josh Ball and just in front of the 14 of Robbie Roy. The 42 and the 26 were hustling up on the outside lane. They have to separate in 3 and 4, and now through the trial, unable to get hooked back up the inside lane, regains the advantage. The 7, Rodney Wofford, now to the point.
Yeah, watch for a lot of good defense by these guys for a little while, because, well, they're going to be on older tires. They're going to have the track position. Now, Seth the Merchant sitting pretty right now because he's the first guy on 4 fresh tires. When those cars start getting tight, watch for the 32 and someone to go flying around the outside here, because defense does get hard when your car becomes undrivable. I'm not saying the tight condition will make them undrivable, but it's going to make it pretty darn near. When they get very tight, it's very difficult at Daytona because your car wants to drift up the track, and that just opens up holes for people to go flying by you. It kills your speed, and it's just not a fun thing here. So looking at that, and here comes them BBM cars again, the 14 and 42 making the charge to the outside. Robbie Roy and Elliott Leach, they led every lap before this pit stop cycle here, and well, they lost, and I'm sure they'd like to take it back as they're going to try to get up here together. And looks like Rod Flagg and Shane McKeechin are going to try to get up here and make it happen. That 28 and 26 combination looks pretty stout so far in this race. I really like the way they've worked with each other. They've actually worked a little bit with Frank Busilia too, but Busilia's mired back just 1 position behind both of them, and he's really, unfortunately, not in a position where he can push them, so Busilia's just going to have to kind of chill there for a little while and wait to get up there with those guys, so we'll keep our eyes open for that. And well, the top 6 are really gone from everyone right now, but everyone behind him's closing the gap real quick, and that should get tight again. Elliott Leach pulls in the line. Robbie Roy, expect him to pull in the line here, although he better do it quick, or else Rod Flagg is going to fill that hole up for him, and that would be an unfortunate scenario for him as he gets in the line. So everyone in single file action now, getting back to the line. Now we just wait on tire wear and really see who's going to make their move first.
And you talk about the tire wear, talk about the weather entering into this Daytona International Speedway event. It's sitting at 109 degrees track temperature, so it is slick out there with those older tires as opposed to some of the times when we come here, and we will at Daytona, not at Talladega because they don't have the lights installed there, but when we come to our night events here, conditions are going to be down, obviously temperature-wise, so the track conditions and the track temperature is going to be significantly lower than pretty much 110 degrees, which is essentially what it's at right now. So as well, that tire strategy can vary from day race to night race, so on and so forth and that. But again, you see everybody tucked up in that single file line, trying to just bide their time, trying to make their way through the field. How about that 32 of Seth the Merchant, the target and the entry right there? That Chevrolet, talked about it, did not put it down in time in practice. Started this race back in 21st position, so essentially right in the middle of the hornet's nest in this 40 car field. up to P4 right now. He's the only driver inside of the top 8 that is sitting there right now that did not start there at the beginning of the event.
Well, like I said, you got to keep your eye on Seth the Merchant. Seth the Merchant is always a hard charger, and really, him and Brogan Law have found their way through this field pretty nice, but Seth the Merchant sitting up there in 4th. He has a good car here tonight. Don't be surprised if he's the one who takes home the hardware at the end. And connection issues already. The number 2 of Donnie Garantano's receive throughput has fell to an unacceptable level, which basically means, well, he's no longer in the server. So, meanwhile, Donnie Garantano's going to try to get back in here. Going to go to multiple laps down, kind of like Richard Holiday did, and that's really not going to work in his favor here, as he's going to try to get that issue fixed. And, well, out front still remains Rodney Wofford with a lot of help from Mark Jorgensen. Jorgensen pushing him, and they're trying to just, find a little groove here. And, I mean, they're on the same tire strategy, so they're certainly going to work with each other. Don't want to put each other in harm's way, because that just gets guys with fresher tires closer to you. Is Seth the Merchant, Elliott Leach, and Robbie Roy, those 3 trying to make something happen right now. Seth the Merchant on the bumper of Josh Ball, doing everything he can to fight him to the dear bone with this one. And, well, here comes Elliott Leach and Robbie Roy. I think they want to get going to the outside line, and it's just up to Seth if he wants to go with them. It really looks like there's a lot of guys who want to get going to the outside line, and we'll keep our eyes to see who does, as this entire thing is single file through the lead pack as we have a car on the wall towards the back. Josh Hanner.
And it appears that it may be the Josh Hanner entry would not be the first time that we have seen a car in the wall. We've had a couple of minor incidents with a couple of people bouncing off each other and whatnot throughout this event, but again, still only the one major incident that had slowed us down for a caution flag in this event. The single file, a lot more up front as opposed to in the back of the back. In the back is where you got guys scrapping. That 3 car did indeed, by the way, go back to pick up that 05 of Casey Pierce. Because Jaberko worked with him, he was able to remain in that lucky dog position, got the wave by, and now it is the 3 and the 05 working, albeit they're outside of the top 30 right now, but they are in it, albeit they're 4.2 seconds back, but again, they're in it, and that's all you need to be able to have a shot at a checkered flag at Daytona. And although it seems like, again, the race really is a long event, and although it is still not all that far in, we're only about 20 laps short of what would be the halfway point in this event after having, again, only 1 caution, and it pretty much lined up pretty very well with the pit strategy, because they would have been coming in much less than 10 laps from that point anyway. So although it may have thrown a little bit of a curveball as far as if you're trying to stack up these pit stops to make it from the green to the checkered, pretty good timing in the fact that this has been a really good race that we have seen so far. We got Wofford, Jorgensen, Ball, DeMerchant, Lynch and company. They're that top 5, top 6 group right now. Looks like the top 5 is really the first pull away, with Robbie Roy sitting shotgun on that. They're within 4/10 of each other inside of those top 6 positions. We got a couple of guys behind them, 7th through 8th. Rod Flagg is up there in that number 26. The 28, a beautiful paint scheme with Shane McEachin. Brogan Law, the 94 as well. A lot of people, although you look at the front and you see it single file, there is a lot going on. 10th through 30th position. People moving forward, people dropping back subsequently. So, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of people trying to get themselves in a spot, so as these laps continue to wind down, they're able to be in a position to fight for it.
Yeah, and all these guys out here still fighting for it, and well, lead pack is getting a little bit bigger because Rod Flagg has closed the gap up with Shane McEachin, and they're getting in here. I have an update. Dana Osborne, his 8 machine, has made contact with the wall, so Dana Osborne, oh, he was under the yellow line.
He got sideways into the apron. That's that Mountain Dew Dew Shine entry. Got a little bit sideways, PD. That's something that, again, we talk about with the tire strategy. He's got a little bit sideways, moved the wheel too hard, got sideways, did a great job of getting back in line, not taking anybody out, and he's in a huge pack of cars right now, 2 wide, a couple rows deep.
The whole lot of cars right there, and well, looking at him, he's trying to get up there and battle that 83, kind of remodeled version of that 83 Ramon Evans with a new paint scheme and a new manufacturer, looking really stout right now. I like the way Ramon looks out there. He's been making moves this race. He's trying to get up front, and this entire lead pack now is single file, and I mean, before when I said it was single file, there were some guys trying to make moves. Right now, no one's trying to make a move. Rick Walker is lost it on his own. He was pushing someone, got loose. He's going through the grass. He's coming back up into traffic. I think he's got control of it now, though, and he does, although he hits the apron. But he was just pushing someone on a straightaway, that 4 was, and he just got turned around Derek Walker now is going to try to find a place to rejoin, but that's going to really hamper his chances. You guys can see 40, and he comes up into the 20 and the 54. Cautions out. Derek Walker has caused a wreck by trying to rejoin traffic. He rejoined at a bad time, went straight into Map on Tempe, sent him into the number 54, William Roberts Jr., and that will bring out our second caution and what must be a really frustrated two drivers right there.
Yeah, that was the number 4 Kodak film entry of Derek Walker. He was behind the 31 down the back, and it was an incident pretty much kind of like we saw with that first incident, PD, except at a little bit of a smaller level. But again, it goes back to those slick conditions, hot track. The 4 car goes down, gets sideways, and once you saw that wheel a couple of times, he did a great job of even getting it to quarter 3 on the apron, tried to keep it down there, and then once he had actually gone back up to blend in with the racing surface, the 20 car, I don't think he was expecting to be that low, because Bontempi was single file with the number 03 machine of Richard Holiday. Holiday made it through no issue. The thing that Derek wasn't expecting, PD, is that the 54 machine was slow, and the 54 came down and kind of set a pick and forced that 20 into the back of the 4, and then the 54, the 20 cars got turned around, and that puts us back under the caution flag at the Daytona International Speedway. How about Rodney Wofford? He sits now on point in this race.
That was right about when he needed that caution. Those tires were about to get real nasty for him, and well, he got a break here. We're under caution. Rodney Wofford is still your leader. We'll hopefully see him continue his efforts up there. Map on Tempe officially out of the race after that wreck, so another one bites the dust, and we're still here at Daytona. I shouldn't say another one bites the dust because we still have a ton of cars in here. Out of the 40 cars who started this race, there are still, I believe, there are still 38 still on the track, so that's quite a few cars still out there racing. They're all just minding their own business, trying to get done here, and, well, it's getting closer to halfway. This is kind of a complete opposite of last year's 500K. Last season's 500K. We saw a big caution fest. They were wrecking almost every lap, and there was some really odd stuff going on that confused even us up in the booth. We didn't know what was going on out there. There was something wrong with the sim. But this season, we're almost 50 laps into it, only 2 cautions, a lot of respect being given, and, well, I give a lot to the draft model, a lot to the drivers maturing over this last season. It's been great to watch them grow, and here they come for their second round of pit stops.
That's right, the 7's going to lead us down, taking 2 tires on the last cycle. He rolls in to that number 2 pit stall on pit road. The 14 of Robbie Roy's going to overshoot it. He's got to shift into reverse. That may force him into a position where he may have to take 2 tires only if he was planning on 4. Wofford's out, DeMerchant is out, and company. Interesting to note for that race leader, PD, it appeared that Rodney Wofford, as that Race Fan Racing Incorporated number 7 Chevrolet, leaves the pit lane gas only. He doesn't even want 2 tires.
That was a really weird stop there. I mean, he and Seth the Merchant just took gas and go, and they're working together, so it doesn't surprise me that they did what they did together, but, well, the only thing I can say is it worked for them. They both got off pit road 1-2, and we'll try to see them guys try to make some progress here and try to maintain that lead. I'll be curious to see how it works with tires for them. I think they should have some wear, but I'm not 100% sure, so we'll keep our eyes open for them. And 11, we're just about 50 laps into this race. It's been real exciting, and 1 car did stay out. That was Tommy Hall, but I expect to see him come down this time around. I don't expect him to just stay out there.
So we were questioning the 2-tire call. How about a no-tire call? We work under our second caution from Daytona, and we will take our second of our own. Gonna step away for a quick commercial break. You're watching the iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series Season 4 on LSRTV. At the iSuperSpeedway 500 came from the World Center of Racing. Closing in on the halfway point. A lot more action in Daytona Beach, Florida. Keep it locked.
Tandy, what a move. Truex on the outside, contact made. 56 slides in at a 4. Who's it going to be at the stripe? Dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Cars are lined up on the grid. The iSuperSpeedway World Championship Grand Prix Series. We are underway. They all come down into turn 1 for the first time.
The lights have gone off on top of the iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car as we get set for our second restart off of a caution flag this evening in the iSuperSpeedway 500K from the Daytona International Speedway. LSRTV's continuing coverage of the iSuperSpeedway.com racing series. Back in it tonight for the unofficial, I guess, opener or official, whatever you want to say, because we scored points and gave away win stickers and tickets into the championship 1 week ago in the duels, but it is the unofficial, I guess, way to actually get this one kicked off. 124 on tap. We're not that far from the halfway point. Pace car is down and away. How about the 29 Tommy Hall? That car going to lead us to the green flag this time by as we get back at it. This machine stayed out. We got a lot of guys behind it with no tires at all, really. The strategy's starting to come into full play here as a checkup with the 7 to 48, and looks like looking to the inside was Josh Ball thought about it, going to get back in line. Look how tightly packed they are, down to 1 and 2.
They're tightly packed, and man, that Tommy Hall machine is going to be a roadblock here in a minute as these guys are just trying to work around him. Probably the best looking car on the field, Tommy Hall, is that number 29 Realtree camo machine. Good looking car. Seth the Merchant now moving up to the second position. What a job he is doing. He is almost to his teammate, the 7 of Ronnie Wofford, but they are not quite there. He still has the 42 of Elliott Leach pushing him. Will he go to the outside and work with Rodney, or will he stay down low and try to find a way around Tommy? This is the questions we're asking right now, and they're soon to be answers. Tommy Hall is going to lead a lap under green flag conditions here. Elliott Leach and Robbie Roy trying to find their groove once again, and everyone right now just in a good position right now, just outside line, still battling out there a little bit, although now it's just Ronnie Wofford, and he is pretty screwed if he cannot find a hole here. He's going to fall back pretty far, and well, Ronnie Wofford, see you later, because he's falling back probably to right behind. I'd say he's going to fall back a ways if he cannot find a quick hole here. There's a little bit of an opening, but it's about to close up, and well, I wouldn't want to be Ronnie Wofford right now. That's all I have to say. Seth the Merchant now looks to battle for the lead.
And again, you look at these leaders right now as that 32 car continues to go through the field. So is that 29 of Tommy Hall. Did it on a little bit of a different strategy by staying out. But that race leader right now, who sits atop the board, started this race 39th out of 40 cars. That put him on the inside of row 20 when we started this event. Seth the Merchant was on the inside of row number 11. So both of those guys up inside of the top 2 right now have had quite the journey to get to the front of the field as they sit right now, but they can't get all that comfortable because, again, a dominant duo so far tonight. Just as I allude to them there, they go to the outside. The teammate entries of Elliott Leach and Robbie Roy to the outside lane. They're going to make it side by side, 2 sets of 2, battling for that top spot. Slow down to back straightaway, the 3 car of Brandon Chaburko. He was in a checkup. He got into the back of the 4 as the 26er Rod Flag as well in the outside wall.
So a couple cars getting the outside wall, side by side for the lead. Here comes Leach and not Rod Flag. And number 14, Robbie Roy. Rod Flag was also hooked in the wall, but as we look at these guys coming, the top 2 are separated on the low side. Robbie Roy and Elliott Leach are hooked up out there, and well, this could end real quick if they can just get a good run off the corner. Here comes Leach and Roy with a great run off the corner. They might just clear the number 29 here, and well, they have cleared them. New lead hitters, Elliott Leach and Robbie Roy.
Yeah, that incident, you're going to take a look right now. Just a little bit of a stagger coming off of the corner, and it was a 7 and a 98 that kind of got staggered with Oltmans in front of him, and Rod just, got a little bit there. The 88 of Jorgensen ended up at his outside. He ended up in the wall, and then there was a big checkup trying to get around them, in which Chaburko was right behind the 4. The 4 hit the brakes because he peeked the nose out and saw a car in the fence, and that's how Chaburko, for the second time tonight, has nearly ended up in the outside retaining wall and is back there. Still with his drafty partner, so that's good news, Petey. But the 42 and the 14, I said be afraid of them when they were 3rd and 4th, and they're able to get to the top spot. Great move to return our pole sitter to the top spot. Although he's already in the championship, wouldn't mind another piece of hardware. That 42 car as well has been very good in these endurance events.
He really has been. I was talking to him before the race, and the real goal for that team right now is to get all their drivers into the chase. So as much as Elliott Leach wants to win this race, I really do believe they're going to try to help Robbie Roy get in the chase tonight. Last season they said they almost got their goal. They got 3 of the 4 guys in the chase. This season they want to achieve their goal, getting all 4, as we watch the number 29 of Tommy Hall trying to make it happen on the outside line. Seth the Merchant considers going with him. That line's going nowhere. They better get down real quick, and well, they almost got down in time, but Josh Ball filled that hole, and now Seth the Merchant's in no man's land outside, and Tommy Hall's going to stick with it, though. He's coming to the outside line of Robbie Roy and Elliott Leach. Robbie Roy looks a little loose down there on the straightaway, but Tommy Hall's a heck of a run, but he doesn't have anything to support it. If this thing runs out dry here, he's going to have a lot of issues, because Seth the Merchant now is right on his bumper, and well, that didn't last too long, as they're going to now fall back, and that was just a bad situation. Wrong place, wrong time for the 32.
And now they're obviously going to try to regain that momentum, but you see they slide back when they're not really in a prime position. The inside clearly with the advantage. You see the 48 car, one of our I-5 bonus eligible drivers to walk away with what would be a $20 cash prize tonight. That's Josh Ball. His teammates that he was with at the beginning of the race that were all up there. The handbrake entries are kind of slid off a little bit. He's kind of in no man's land. How about Frank Busilia? One of the drivers here that is always so strong, walked away with the inaugural iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series Championship by 13 points over Brandon Chaburko back a few years ago. That number 94 took it off, and he went to the booth, PD. He was up in the tower. He was calling the races. He was officiating through the opening portions, pretty much to the halfway point in that Season 3 campaign. Now back out on track, and he's showing that he knows what to do after being 8th position, up to 5th right now, so slowly making his way forward. But again, the 94 car is, again, one of those drivers that is competitive week in and week out. How about a shout out to the car that is P10 right now? He leads that secondary pack. That's about 0.4 of a second off of the leaders. P10 after starting 31st, up 21 spots. He's passed 20 cars to get where he is right now. The 98 Napa machine and Greg Hooks.
Outside charge rejuvenated. Here comes Tommy Hall in the 29 with a lot of help from Seth the Merchant in the 32. Those guys come in front. That's also a new number this season with the 29 Tommy Hall. Last season he was the number 4 machine. Well, this season that's Derek Walker. So Tommy Hall, the new number, same paint scheme, sporting it to the front as of right now. Him and Seth the Merchant with a big run. It might run dry though. Rodney Wofford tried to help him get there, but it just appears as though right now they can't get the run they need, and they're not going to get the proper run. They're going to fall back now because Tommy Hall's loose on the outside line, hangs onto it, but that could have got real hairy there, as he's going to now fall back to the number 32 of the Merchant. The Merchant hanging onto it, and he is going to try to push Tommy once again. I really think the 7 and the 32 want to work together right now without the 29, but that's kind of an issue because he's right there, unless they want to branch Burko 3 wide him right now, but it's almost too early in the race to do that as we quickly approach halfway, and just next time by will be the halfway mark of this thing. These laps are clicking by quick, and well, this race is clicking by quick here, and one thing that's remained constant though is the 42 and 14 have been not in the lead, near the lead this whole race.
And then outside, again, you go forward, you slide back. It is a balance that you need to strike, and it has been a constant learning curve that these drivers have been having to utilize. The fact that it's not only a more difficult draft to work and it takes a lot more finesse, but again, the fact that you still can't push into corners, can't push into travel. Real close in the left rear there. Again, that little bit of stagger. You saw DeMerchant nosed a little bit to the inside on that number 29 car up by the outside lane of Tommy Hall. Could have gotten really downhill very fast. They're all good, though. That 7 car's hopped up with him and has been working with him for quite some time. The 7 of Rodney Wofford is right behind them. Kind of a third car in line right now, but this field is really, it's not spreading out as far as when you see these side-by-side fights, PD, but they're broken up into groups. You got that lead group that is through 9th position within 4/10. Then 10th place is 1.2 seconds on back. That's another pack of about 6-7 cars or so. Then, you know, back in the teens, you got a couple of small tandems there trying to work together. So although across the board those intervals are quite spread out, there's a couple of packs here throughout the field that are providing some good racing.
Yeah, and it really has been good racing, and Derek Walker in the wall of that 4 tough break for him. Just want to nudge him again, but he is now trying to latch onto someone, still falling back after contact with that wall. Poor break for him, and well, meanwhile, here comes Tommy Hall again with help from Seth the Merchant. The Merchant now is trying to push him to the front here, and it looks like it's going to be a long way to go there. The outside line has not had the juice it's needed yet to get to the top spot. They're still trying to make it happen, though. No give up in these guys. Josh Ball thinks about going up there with him. He thinks better of it, and he's undecided. Where does he want to go? He's wiggling, he's wobbling, he's sticking down low as of right now. Josh Ball decides to stay to the inside line with Shane McEachin, although don't be surprised if he goes up there. He's looking like he wants to try it out. And off of corner number 4, this time by, it appears as though they're really trying to get a lot of air to the nose of that 14 machine. You keep seeing the 42 of Elliott Leach going high on corner exit. It's for the sole reason to get air to the nose of Robbie Roy. I mean, if they want to push each other for the whole race, so be it, but they got to get nose of that 14 or else that motor will blow, and that will be a pretty sight if that motor blows up, so they're going to try to keep that thing cooled down as Tommy Hall has been trying to make a run to get to the front this whole run. In about 6 laps, he's going to need fuel here. It's getting towards the end of the fuel run that he is on, and well, he's going to need to come down pit road and put some fuel in that thing. He can't stay out too much longer.
And by the way, just about a lap and a half ago, we have gotten the cross flags in the air as we are now past the halfway point in this iSuperSpeedway.com 500K from Daytona. As we still go side by side, and well, these positions are probably going to shuffle up every time we go 45 seconds and cross the start-finish line. Let's give you the mid-race break and let you know where everybody stacks up in this 40-car field that still has 34 on the lead lap. The top 10 go as follows. Race leader Elliott Leach has led those so far tonight, just behind him teammate Robbie Roy, who started third, is second. Josh Ball is third, P4. One of the major movers tonight started 39th is Tommy Hall. Shane McEachin is 5th. Seth the Merchant up from a sub-20 qualifying effort. He's up in 6th position. 7th is Frank Lucilia. 8th, Rodney Wofford. Running 9th right now, making some good headway is Jason Altmans. And rounding out the top 10 is Brogan Lawn. We got a car in defense coming out of corner for the 36 of Sean Turner.
That's Sean Turner in the Walmart entry as he hit the wall there. Tough break for Sean Turner. He's going to fall back a little ways. Now in 11th is Mark Jorgensen Jr. 12th. Jared Haggerty's making a nice comeback right now in that 23 machine. 13th, the Dana Osborne in the 8. 14th, the 98 of Greg Hooks. 15th, to William Roberts Jr. in the 09. 16th, to Chris Bassini in the 31. 17th, to Ramon Evans in the 83. 18th, to Jeff Figlin in the 38. 19th, to the last Hanrick machine, the 5 of Tanner Mann. Rounding out your top 20 is a newcomer, Kyle Geary in the 45.
21st position is Rod Minton, 22nd, Sean Turner. That car is going to continue to slide down the leaderboard, so he'll probably be outside of the top 30, but right now scored 22nd. 23rd is Ron Thompson, Dennis Wright, 24th, 25th to Dan Harrington, Michael Lathrop, 26th, 27th to Kent Conley, Casey Pierce, 28th, 29th is Brandon Chaburko, and 30th position is Jimmy Todd. All of those cars will now shuffle up a spot at the stripe, so that everybody's going to be one place higher from what we said. P30 now goes to that 25 of Corey Henry.
31st, the number 24 of Josh Hanner. 32nd to Doug Sigmund in the 06. 33rd is now Sean Turner in the 36. 34th is Derek Walker in the number 4. 35th is Richard Howday in the 03, 36th to the number 21 of Ray Rittenauer the second, 37th Rod Flagman 26th. So that was a rough night. He had a bad finish in IROC, and he might get a poor finish here tonight too. I feel bad for Rod. He's had an off night for him. And 38th to Map on Tempe in the 20, 39th to number 2 of Donnie Garantano, and shotgun on the field right now, and well, he doesn't appear as he's coming back anytime soon, is the number 78 of Tony Fenn. So that's your full field here from the Daytona International Speedway, and well, as of right now, Elliott Leach is still out front leading them down. They're single file, and well, that 14 and 42 still trying to make it happen here.
And again, you saw the list of the manufacturers, the drivers, all the way through this 40-car field, but to be this many laps into an endurance event like this, PD, and again, we talked about when they really first pushed this iSuperSpeedway.com 500K one season ago, that it was much more of a, I guess, really an endurance race, trying to fight through that one. Revised rules, limited numbers on those quick repairs as well. This has been so far a spectacular event. You're seeing the strategy really come to fruition, although it does look single file, and that is where it is most of the time here on track. Outside, going to go side by side inside of these top 6 cars, the 51 and the 32 up high. They're doing so in strategy. They're trying to set themselves up. We still have to go down to pit road before this race is over, so you can't really jump the gun on trying to do something stupid. 3 wide back in the pack with Brandon Chiburko. Not surprised that it is him and Casey Pierce forcing it. That's for P25. Looks like we're on Thompson in a 54 car. First up on the outside lane, that's Dennis Wright. 3 wide, 2 rows deep in the middle of 3 and 4.
Casey Pierce trying again.
No fives in the fence. There you go.
Big junk. 3 around. Oh, he hit the 86. 3 into the inside wall. Everyone's still spinning out. Kent Connolly was some severe damage. Everyone's piling in. Jimmy Todd missed it somehow. And the 22 hits the. Oh man, Josh Hanner somehow misses that. I don't know how he missed that, but dear God, he got almighty close. And well, we're under another caution here, and we've said this a lot last season. The 05 and the 3 did everything perfect, but the people around them just kind of slipped up a little bit. Oh, that time I think it might have actually been the 05. I'm gonna have to look at that twice.
In contact in the corner, the 05 and the 3 at Chiburko. It looks like the 05 came down as well, though the 92 slid up the slightest bit. And, when you're in a 3-wide situation, the 05, had significantly more room up to the 54 of Dennis than he did down to the 32 car on the inside lane. But nonetheless, a racing incident as everybody, the 92, my apologies, Rod Minton there. But yeah, PD, they got sideways, and first it was Pierce who ended up in the fence. The 3 got turned around. You had the 86 in that as well. It looks like the 82, the 54, a whole bunch of people getting involved in this one. And then again, they continued to wreck all the way through to the front straightaway grass because of that single file that they were in. You think it would help, but you see the guy break in front of you. If you're not into the back of him, you swerve out of the way. There's a lot of smoke. Nobody knows where to go. And we have quite the amount of torn up race cars. Not going to call it the big one, although it was the biggest one that we have seen all far tonight, but we do slow him down behind the pace car. Once again, right now, Shane McEachin is scored in the lead. That scoring needs to update as they catch back up to the pace car, but back under caution. And again, this time for the first time, past the halfway point. Really now, once we get up to about 6 or 7 laps from now, we'll be to 50 to go, and then we'll start counting it down.
Yeah, meanwhile on pit road, Josh Ball was the first car out, and he got in front of Elliott Leach, so that's going to shuffle him out there. And, well, like you said, the 28 and the number 94, Frank Lucilia, both stayed out. I don't know what the strategy is there. I'll be curious to see if they stick with it right now. So everyone, well, they're still out there just charging, and we'll see what happens. 2 cars going to get back to at least 1 lap down. That's going to be Richard Holiday and Ray Rittenauer. So those guys get closer and closer to the lead lap. Good for them. And, well, so far, just a whole lot of exciting racing going on, and I'll be excited to see what comes of the 28 and 94 staying out. They won't have too much fuel. I don't know what the strategy is here.
We have seen people stay out before. We've seen people do 2 tires, no tires. We've seen quite a bit of strategy for a restrictor plate race so far this evening that you might not have anticipated. But, when you go away from the typical feature event lengths where you have the B main and the A mains, it does require a little bit more strategy to find your way and fight your way through 40 cars to be able to be up front and be in a spot that, again, you can contend for a good finish, if not a checkered flag, when it really comes down to it. Do want to remind everybody to use the hashtag LSRTV on Twitter, and your tweets will show up live on broadcast, as well as if you're looking for a new iRacing account, how about use our new promo code? Use PR-Live Sim Racing TV, only valid on a new iRacing account, to get 3 months plus all the cars and tracks that come standard with an account, and the Ford GT race car added on for no additional charge for just $12. So for those that, have been watching the broadcasts and may have been wanting to actually get into iRacing, or for anybody that has friends out there, make sure to let them know. If they do, use PR-Live Sim Racing TV, and you'll get 3 months for just $12, about the 7 or so cars and tracks that come with it, plus the Ford GT for no additional charge. It's about 54% savings if you weren't using that code. So pretty cool deal there.
And, well, still, Shane McEachin out front. I really am curious to see, remember, they were out green for, I'd say, about 25, 30 laps there. So they're only at 15 to 10 laps of fuel here. They're really, really betting on a slim chance of caution here, but I think, don't count my words on it, but I think they might have some fuel strategy planned here. They might want this to go green all the way. They could be some weird fuel strategy, but we'll see if that works out for them as everyone gets their wave rounds now. And, well, first car on fresh tires, like I said, is that 48 of Josh Ball. He'll restart third. Fourth will be Elliott Leach. Fifth to Robbie Roy. And, well, those two cars been working together the whole race. I'll be curious to see if they can get back up there again, but it's Daytona racing. It's been exciting, and we're about to see a whole heck of a lot more of it on LSRTV. 72 laps into this thing. It's been real.
By the time we get back going, we're going to be right on the money for making this 50 laps to go, and pretty much then it's one of our feature events, Speedy, because then you kind of get back into a range where, at least for those that pitted, and again, the fact that we do have people that stayed out at the front of the field does change that, but if everybody pitted, essentially it's a reset button, and you're back in a position that you would be, and you got to approach it like one of those feature events where you need to be able to fight, try to get back up to the field, because again, anything can happen at the Daytona International Speedway, and we've seen it especially on the white flag laps. Last season, PD, had to be one of the craziest that we have seen. All the wild finishes and the B mains and the A mains as well can easily happen tonight as well. And oh, by the way, again, 2 people have already gone to victory lane in the duels just to qualify for this, and they have locked themselves in to a spot in the iSuper Chase to fight for a championship winner tonight as well. As long as it's not one of those drivers, somebody else is going to get to put an iSuperSpeedway winner sticker on their car, and as well they get to fight for the championship, which makes these races, you add the fact that it's a season opener, you add the fact that it's the Daytona 500 KPD, and you add the fact that it'll punch you a ticket to the championship. Really, everybody's going to scrap for this one, maybe harder than we'll see all season.
Possibly, and, well, we'll see who takes home the checkered flag in this one in just under 50 laps, and, well, it's going to be a good dogfight for it. We still have 1 pit stop to go for all the guys who just pitted, probably 2 for the guys who didn't, and, well, all I can say is iSuperSpeedway Friday night action. As always, we're getting ready to go back green here. The pace car, driven by Brett Bodine, is looking to wave goodbye, possibly for the last time, but I wouldn't bet money on it. These guys are going to wad them up one more time. I wouldn't have any doubt in my mind if they were to do so, so we'll watch out for that. And as they come through corners 3 and 4, the Ford First Mustang looking to just get off the racetrack and let Shane McEachin get this thing back underway on his limited fuel cell here. We'll see what he can do with it. That Havoline Ford, for the first time this season, is leading the field, and as the pace car pulls off, green flag in the air, and they are gone and away. The 28 with a good restart, but Frank Busili is sticking right with them. Those 2 guys on limited fuel need to work together here if they want to maintain a good pace.
And you see the outside a little bit slumped behind the 51 car up there of Jason Altman's, but again, that's a lot of people trying to get down to the inside. The 7 does it, the 42 does it, everybody trying to get down in line, because really, the outside is just not going to work on that first lap. Look at the 94 diving aggressively to the inside. The McDonald's Ford of Frank Busilia down in line. He was second, now he'll be third, as that 48 car. Really, third place is significantly better to start at than in second, because you're going to be behind the leader, you're already on the inside, and for the majority of these restarts, that 48 lows entry has been looking out, PD, because Josh Ball was up here, slid back a little bit, but has really been using those inside restarts to his advantage to get back up to a top 2 where he sits right now. You saw a couple of cars peek to the outside, both the 42 and the 14 once again together. Don't expect them to sit around too long. They sit right now 4th and 5th in line on that inside lane. Wouldn't surprise me if Leach and Roy try to make something happen up high.
I think the strategy with those two cars, after listening to the radio a little bit, they're just going to wait for the 94 and 28 to kind of run out of gas, or at least that's the plan. Things could change, and then they're just going to try to freight train Josh Ball, so we'll see if that works out for them, or if they change their plan, which I guess they just called an audible, because they're going to the outside line. They're going to try to make it happen here. Elliott Leach and Robbie Roy don't want to wait on the gas. They want to go flying by these guys, and they're going to try to do it here, and that 94 right now is fighting off Elliott Leach good right now, but Robbie Roy is getting a good push on him, and here they come to corner's number trial. It's the trial, it's not a corner number yet, as they are now up the door of Josh Ball, and they're going to be trying to get up to the lead here momentarily. These guys going at it here, and well, Josh Ball is trying to just keep his car in a good spot here, and I really think that Josh Ball wants to keep it in front of the 42 and 14. It's more important that he does that than anyone else right now, because those two other cars, they're going to have to pit soon. But if he can stay in front of the 42 and 14, when they pit, he'll be the leader.
And again, they work that outside lane, but again, they're so single file and beneath them and right on each other's bumper that you get to the fact that if that strategy does not work, PD, they're going to be forced to really slide back and duck in line. Right now, there's some breathing room behind the 7th place car and 5th car on the inside, the 7th Rodney Wofford, before you get back to Jason Oltmans. But Oltmans has guys like Lant behind him, Haggerty, Hooks, Passini, guys that we have seen show strength in these plate track races, only about a 4 car lengths behind him. They're going to be up to the back of that 7, I feel, and that's going to be one big line of cars down on the inside at about a lap or two. Once you get to that point, if these two on the outside, which they're doing good right now, making it side by side for first and side by side for third, if it doesn't work out, it's a long way back to getting down to that double yellow line. They made it work last time. They're trying to do it here again. The pusher is the 14 and the push E the 42. Elliott Leach and Robbie Roy want to take the lead, but this time by still in favor of Shane McEachin and that 48 of Josh Ball.
Yeah, I'm surprised Robbie Roy didn't try to slide in from the 94 there. They used to do these things where they would just kind of pull in the line and one would drag the brakes. They would work with each other, but here we go. They're all going to get in the line here, and Elliott Leach advanced one position, and Robbie Roy still behind Frank Busilia. He has to fall back to Seth the Merchant now, hoping that the Merchant can push him here, and they're just going to say nope. They're going to try to go around him here, and they will. So Robbie Roy with no help, he has to be careful, or else he could lose this lead draft, and he has to fall back a long way to find Jason Oltman. So this could possibly happen to him, because Seth the Merchant has no interest working with him right now, and up front, there's really 3 guys going. Oh, big wreck in the back, 51 wreck, and that's Jason Oltmans. He is, flying through the air. The 05 comes in, hits him hard.
The big one strikes at Daytona at a corner number 4. A whole pack of them involved in this one at a corner 4, and we're immediately alerted to it, PD, from the drivers over the radio screaming, "Get low, get out of the way!" And it started with huge contact, the 19 and the 51 finding each other. We will work on getting this replay up here momentarily, but much like we saw our leaders do, the 19 and the 23 PD, they just wanted to go high, and it's that slight contact. You can't do it in the corner for that very reason. 19 gets hooked around into the 51. Oltmans comes back up, and it kind of launches Brogan Launt into the air. He goes barrel rolling as these guys all pile into it. That secondary pack, at least a dozen cars, gonna get some sort of piece of this one. How about that 24 and the 92, though? They did get into each other, but somehow avoiding really getting torn up in that as they kind of slid through that incident, and then the 92 had to avoid a spinning 24 car. The biggest one we've seen tonight, and we'll call it big one number 1, strikes at Daytona coming off of 4.
The 19 went flying through the air. The 51 went flying through the air. There was a whole lot of flying, and not in a good way. So everyone is, going to have another chance to gather their thoughts here, and another cycle of pit stops, possibly, especially for the 2 guys that just stayed out. And we'll keep you updated on what happens here. Well, that was a very, very big wreck, a very exciting wreck, as we watch, it looks like a majority of the leaders are actually coming down pit road again to get some fuel. They are not in the window yet, but they're getting closer to it. I mean, 3 or 4 cautions, they can make it.
A couple of people bringing it back down pit lane this time, including race leader Shane McEachin. The 28 car is in, right side tires, and that is it. As he rolls off the pit lane, Frank Busilia going to pick up at least 3 spots as the McDonald's entry leaves just in front of him. But we close in on a point now where we're just at about 45 laps to go. We'll step away as we get the cleanup underway in 3 and 4 after a major incident in the iSuperSpeedway 500K. The race to the checkered flag, and probably the most exciting action we'll see all night coming up as we're within 50 laps to go. Don't go anywhere.
the thing that makes life so interesting. The theory of evolution claims only the strong shall survive. Maybe so. Maybe so. But the theory of competition says just because they're the strong doesn't mean they can't get their asses kicked. That's right. See, what every long shot come from behind underdog will tell you is this. The other guy may in fact be the favorite. The odds may be stacked against you, fair enough. But what the odds don't know is this isn't a math test. This is a completely different kind of test. One where passion has a funny way of trumping logic. So before you step up to the starting line, before the whistle blows and the clock starts ticking, just remember, out here, the results don't always add up. No matter what the stats may say, and the experts may think, and the commentators may have predicted, when the race is on, all bets are off. Don't be surprised if somebody decides to flip the script and take a pass on yelling uncle. And then suddenly, as the old saying goes, we got ourselves a game.
Monza is a very historic track. It's been around since the 20s, and it's gone through several permutations since then. We're also bringing forward a number of configurations. So there's chicanes that they've installed since the track's early days. So they can use original, very high-speed configurations of the track where the cars would just blow through where the chicanes are today, or they could use a more modern version. So it's a pretty cool, compelling track. The unique thing about Monza is it has a road course, but it also has a high-speed oval. And that high-speed oval can be run by itself. The Grand Prix course can be run by itself. And they also can be run together in a combined circuit, which is very unique and special in motorsports. This was one of the more challenging projects that we've undertaken. It was essentially building two tracks in one. It took a lot of time and a lot of care was put into it, but we're really happy about the end result and we think that people have a lot of fun driving it.
Double it up and lights are off on top of the pace car. Restart coming up, lap 82 in the works, and green flag flies. The 83 of Ramon Evans going to take that Chevrolet off the top spot, and he'll get a crack at leading this race. Look at the 32 once again slicing to the inside. Seth the Merchant getting down low as soon as possible. The 14 of Robbie Roy, though, thinks about going high. Look for the 42 and the 14, PD. They definitely want to find each other.
Yeah, I don't think the 14 is going to save the 42. Elliott Leach is going to head south. He has absolutely nothing to help him here. That was a tough break for him. 14 saved. 14's actually 14's dragging the brakes.
That
dragging the
could have
brakes
gotten
right
real
now.
ugly real quick.
They've done it before, and they made it work again. Robbie Roy drags the brakes to save Elliott Leach's chance to win this race, and Elliott Leach slides right in the line there. And meanwhile, Rodney Wofford and Seth the Merchant, the teammates, trying to take the lead away from Ramon Evans. Fuel saving was a big deal under caution there. They think they can make it to get to the end if we get 2 cautions here, and we'll see if that happens. New leaders, though, the 7 of Rodney Wofford and the 32 Seth the Merchant. I picked Seth the Merchant to win this race, and he's poised himself in a good position. Here comes Elliott Leach now and Robbie Roy, and well, dragging the brakes worked out for him because they're going to move up to 3rd and 4th here. If they can clear Ramon Evans, they have to get a good run off, and Elliott Leach almost comes down in the line, and it's going to be close because Ramon Evans has a lot of help again. Those two need to get a good run off, and they can just push each other. They can get back into a position to possibly win it. They don't want to be trapped in the outside line, though, because this time there's no one to drag the brakes to save them.
And I believe that at one point it was against the rules to brake to allow somebody in the line, or it was blocking a line technically. So again, you got to do what you got to do, and it worked out because they went right back to the outside, which is where they've been probably equally as much as they've been on the inside all night long, PD. But you got to love the strategy that the Merchant's playing. Gets down in line, isn't the one that makes the move to the high side. He waits till somebody else tries it. He takes the response, and is working out so far for that Target Energizer Battery Chevrolet, who's up to 2nd. But how about Rodney Wofford? A wicked run as well tonight. Great job to see that machine up in front. But again, 42 and the 14. They're almost being the Brandon Chaburko and Casey Pierce of the front of this field tonight, PD, as those 2 cars have kind of found themselves stuck in the back and out of this race and really can't fight for it like they would have wanted to. And unfortunately, when they were together, they were about equally as fast. So the 42 and the 14 taking over that role tonight, as they have really had a manhandle on this race.
Yeah, Robbie Roy pulls in the line. I think he's just trying to get a good run so we can give it all to Elliott Leach here as they are getting single filed out. Elliott Leach now alone on the outside, and Robbie Roy is, I'm not quite sure what he's doing right now, but expect to see him, no, he's just going to, I think, maybe try to do the brake thing again. I'm not sure what he's doing here, but he's definitely slowing his car down. Well, we're going to see what he does here to try to get Elliott Leach in the line, and he's just going to pull up right beside Elliott Leach, and now he gets Elliott Leach in the line, so Elliott Leach is going to pull in the line behind the number 32 here. Ramon Evans, through that whole thing, Ramon Evans didn't really want to wait on Robbie Roy doing that, and that will allow Ramon Evans to now fall far back, and, well, it worked out for Leach and Roy, but Ramon Evans going to head in the wrong direction due to that. Ramon Evans got the poor end of that one, as now everything's getting single-filed.
There's always a lucky dog out, so the negative lucky dog, I guess, because there's always somebody that's stuck without a dancing partner, and it's a group dance, it's a line dance, whatever you want to call it, because the 83 is not with that big single-file train that he's now going to be able to get in behind, but it's not before the 48 car's gone around him, Corey Henry's gone around him, maybe not even going to find room in between the 48 and the 5, because those are teammate cars, and Tanner Mann is going to force him all the way back to P11 before Ramon Evans is able to find a spot back in line after, again, I said, he was going to try that thing out on the front of this field. Things just did not work out for him. Gotta feel pretty good right now if you're sitting inside of these top 10 spots, because again, these laps very quickly running down, and what has really been a spectacular Daytona 500K this evening. There are still 24 cars on the lead lap in this one after a big one took out at least a dozen of them in quarter 4, which put us at one of our most recent caution flag periods. You see, it's very interesting, PD. Everybody's spread out for the moment inside of the top 4. You see a little bit of group between the 13, or rather the 32 and the 42, the 14 and the 42. A car length. What that is quote-unquote, we'll call it kinetic energy, because as soon as they get up to the bumper, that's when they want to make the move. That's what the strategy call that we thought the 14 was going to play in the 42 car. So once they get spread out, that only means they're going to be on each other's bumpers in about a lap or so, and that's where you get the movement. That's where you get the runs, and these drivers have to be able to read that. They need to be able to act on it if they want to go anywhere.
Yeah, and right now, Elliott Leach in the 3rd position. Look to see him make a move, looking back to this whole entire line. I'm just waiting to see someone try to make a move, but as of right now, everyone's just staying calm here as this lead pack is about 17, 18 cars strong maybe, and everyone just working on their stuff right now. A little bit more up front. I really think that 98 and 25 want to make a move. I've been watching them. They've been trying to make a move here, and this thing goes green to the end. Remember, there's another pit stop to come. They're within their pit fuel range now, where if a caution were to come out, they can pit now and be done for the race, so watch out for that if that were to be the case. But right now, I'm not sure if that will be the case. Everyone right now just single file line. I think there is a little fuel saving going on this line, but it's going to be all for now if we don't get a caution, because there's no way they can make it if there isn't one. And, well, right now, the entire, basically, I'm not going to say the entire lead lap, but the entire lead lap with a race car still under them that can run competitively is in this lead pack, and well, they are trying to make it happen here. Really looking at it, one car that's impressed me is the 14th place runner of Richard Holiday in the 03. He has come back from 5 laps down the battle, but here we go, battle for the lead. Elliott Leach the outside with Robbie Roy, and
oh, he turned on the 42 sideways. Can he save it this time? No, Elliott Leach, big trouble in the corner. The 48, the 92, company, everybody piles in. Just where it happened a handful of laps ago. That slightest bit of contact, PD, again on that very so sensitive left rear. The 14 trying to give a push to Elliott Leach, and again, no, you cannot do that in the corner. They were just trying to be as close as they could, but that small contact, the aggressive setup, and the fact that that car was a little bit on that left rear, hooked the 42 around. Seth is going to get doored. I'm very curious to see what kind of damage that 32 will have. But Elliott went sideways. The guys behind him had nowhere to go. I think he may have been able to save it if he was by himself, PD. But Frank piled into the 94, the 28, the 48, and company. This wreck, at least another 8 or so cars involved, and we slow them down for caution flag once again. Going to set us up for a restart now, really in the home stretch, sub 30 laps to go when we get down to this next restart.
Yeah, that was a wreck there that was really I'm really confused on what happened there, because before they even wrecked, there was black engine smoke coming out of some car, and it really looked like it was coming out of Robbie Roy's, and I was about to talk about how Robbie Roy's blew his motor, but Robbie Roy is still currently out there running. I'm really confused on what there was definitely black engine smoke coming out of one of them cars before it all happened. Well, I mean, they're all going to come out pit road, so we're watching everyone come out pit road, and here we go. See, a few more coming down pit road. 32 is going to come down pit road. The 7 staying out. Split decision there between teammates. That one kind of surprises me, but Seth thinks they're not going to get enough cautions. Rodney thinks they will, and, well, this will be interesting.
Yeah, the only smoke that I saw was when that 42 got turned around, and the 14 lucked out pretty much, because he could have easily ended up with that 42, but Robbie Roy jumped to the high side and was able to get around that one. But again, the 14 very easily able to get around that, and no engine damage, it would appear, on that, because he actually stays out as well during this caution period. Ronnie Wofford is going to be in the top spot. Robbie Roy is there. How about the big winner in this? That I talked about this car earlier on, and he slid back, but that nationwide number 88 of Mark Jorgensen Jr. won here at Daytona, PD. One of the fan favorites. Could see that car in victory lane, because the way this wreck happened, with most of those guys being involved in top 10 running positions, that kind of moves everybody from just at the top 10 out up a handful of spots, and now they're right in the thick of things as well. And again, we're really getting down to the end of this one. 92 laps in the works right now as Ronnie Wofford sits atop the field. Got a couple of wave bys, actually a lot of wave bys going by. Dana Osborne, that car's torn up. Looks like Doug Sigmund's getting away by. Kent Connolly may be able to be competitive. However, he's 2 laps down, so he'd need to get a little bit more assistance. Quite a lot of guys out there staying out there with not necessarily machines that are at 100%, but just seeing whatever they can get, because although we talk about the hype of the Daytona 500K, the hype of, being able to get into the championship, you have to remember that you can stay out there, don't give in, get points, because there are that possibility that if anybody inside of the top 5 does not have a win, and you're inside the top 5 based on points alone without a trip to victory lane, you as well will be given an invitation to the championship. So points equally as so very important, and that's why you'll see guys stay out, and they'll gain points. They just gained a lot of points there. As cars fall out of this race, they gain spots and subsequently get better finishes. So it does pay to put around there, although it's the most painful thing to do, PD, as a driver at Daytona. Ride around off pace with a beat-up race car by yourself a couple laps down. It can pay off big in the long run.
Got to look at a few guys who came through this field as of right now. The 6th place driver and 5th place driver, Jimmy Todd, has come from 27th to 5th. Jeff Figlin, in his series debut, has come through from 32nd, the number 6th position, a little bit further back. We're looking at the Tanner Manager. He started 26th. He's up to 9th. The 10th place driver, the 03 Richard Holiday, he was 5 laps down to start this thing. He is now in the top 10. 29, Rob Mitten started 29th up to 12. Just a whole lot of guys making recoveries. I mean, Corey Henry started 33rd. He's up to 14th. Some great comeback stories so far in this field, and that's not over yet. Maybe one of them guys can take home the victory. I mean, the guy who started dead last in this race is still out there racing in this field, so There's still actually a ton of cars still in the field. I mean, there's very few who have DNF'd. I think we're still above 30 as of right now. I know there's still a few guys who are many, many laps down out there wobbling around like Tony Fenn currently in the 78, but just keep your eyes out for all these guys, and keep your eyes out for everyone who just stayed out, including Rodney Wofford, Robbie Roy, and Mark Jorgensen, and the 24 of Jimmy. I mean, there's just a few guys who have stayed out. If this thing goes green to the end, it's not going to work in their favor. If they get a bunch of cautions, they might just steal the 500K.
And it is the age-old saying that cautions breed cautions. That is exactly what some drivers really want to see, and it is exactly what some drivers don't want to see. As the lights go on for the pace car, this restart is going to be at exactly 30 laps to go. And this race will cross over lap 94 to 95 in this 124 lap event. Do want to remind everybody, want to give a shout out to everybody in the live YouTube chat. You got Dan, Ben, Alex, Spencer, Hoosier Man, everybody in there. We're keeping an eye on the comments and all that good stuff. Interacting with you guys as well. You see it on the top right of the ticker every once in a while. Make sure to go on Twitter. Use the hashtag LSRTV, and your tweets will be up on the live broadcast as well on the DVR version that is available on the Live Sim Racing TV YouTube channel that you guys can go back on throughout the week and watch previous races and whatnot. So I want to make sure that everybody is utilizing that feature as well. Let us know who you guys think are going to win this one, because we're really getting down to it. Restart coming up with 30 laps to go. Now, this is how we're going to stack up. The front row going to be with the 7 on the inside, Rodney Wofford in control, Robbie Roy on the outside. Then you got 2 Heinrich entries, and it's not the 48 car who we've been talking about all night long, because Josh Ball is now back in 20th. Mark Jorgensen Jr. and Josh Hanner side by side. Right behind them, Jimmy Todd sneaking up into this mix. How about that number 18 Evan M's Toyota Camry PD? Started 27th. Is P5 right now. 6 is Ray Rittenauer. You got Seth the Merchant, Tanner Baird, Richard Holiday, and William Roberts now all inside of the top 10 left in this race. 30 laps to go to decide who walks away with some of the biggest hardware all year.
And we're going to find out. Restart about to get happening here as the number 7, the Ronnie Wofford, going to lead them down. And, well, it's come down to this one, the final restart for the event. Pace car pulls off. Rodney Wofford gets the green flag down in the air, and they are off racing here. And great restart by that inside line. They got going a lot more quicker than Robbie Roy and Josh Hainer did there. And while you really got to think that on these restarts, the green flag almost comes out immediately as Josh Hainer riskily tries to find his way to the inside line. I mean, the way the restarts fall here, they almost fall immediately. It's almost the control car really doesn't control the restart. The green flag more or less does, so Robbie Roy's going to be falling in the wrong direction. I'm keeping my eye on the 24 of Josh Hanner. He has some significant damage. We'll see what he can do with that car. I'll be curious to see if it can maintain speed as they continue to run laps.
And the 14's going to find some help in the 38 of Jeff Figlin. That car as well. Coming up to this late in the mix. A little bit of a bobble there by the 32 of Seth the Merchant. Close on that left rear. And these drivers have seen you really don't want to play around with anything close to that, so he backed off of it, and he'll drop in line behind the Oneida William Roberts Jr., who's making a charge to the front here. 8th place that time by after starting 23rd. Tanner Mann as well, just in front of these guys in line. The number 5 Pepsi Max entry started 26th. He's up to 7th right now. Robbie's still going to have to work with that 32 car. He has kind of become separated from his teammates again, PD, after it was looking good for him for the longest time, having help. Now he's trying to get with whoever he can, and I'll set the Merchant right there. Those affiliated cars going to be working together.
I won't be surprised if his teammate Richard Holiday in the 03 jumps out to the outside to try to help him here, although right now Robbie Roy doesn't seem to be going anywhere. He doesn't have the chemistry he had with Leach at one point, as Richard Holiday does jump out to the outside, and he's going to dive back low. He's just going to let them guys go around him there. He thought about going with them, but decided it was just a better decision to stick to the safe low line for right now. And all these guys still out there racing hard, and, well, Robbie Roy, he's one of them guys with a fuel strategy much like the top 3 right now, so he kind of needs to find his groove quick if he wants to be out there competitive. As Seth the Merchant now pushes him to the front, but if he wants to be out there battling for this win, he needs some caution. So in order for that strategy to make any sense, he wants to be near the front. So we'll see if that happens for him right now, as those guys are trying to find their way past Tanner Mann. Seth the Merchant doing a great job pushing them, and, well, Robbie Roy is looking north, and he was wanting to head there with Seth the Merchant as of right now, but I'm not sure that the Merchant can push him there with the run that they are getting right now. No help from anyone else on the outside line right now, and everyone's just kind of on that inside line, bottom feeding as they like to call it, trying to preserve their cars and preserve a finish here in the Daytona 500K, setting up for the final move to the front, which should be coming up shortly as we get quicker and quicker, close to 20 to go here. And Robbie Roy in that 14, he's looking stout now, but don't be surprised if that 32 of Seth the Merchant ditches him once they get close to a teammate of his.
The age-old question then returns as we get closer and closer, as you said, Petey, to the final 20, to the final 10, 5, white, and all that good stuff is, where do you want to be on track? How about that third car in line, Josh Hanner? It's got the left front of that machine, Petey, pretty torn up sheet metal-wise, and he's still right in the thick of things. And Seth's going to leave the 14 out to dry, thinks about it. He's down in behind the 18 in front of the 21, and he will. 14 car of Robbie Roy was actually just making a move with Seth the Merchant in that number 32 car, and is now going to be slotted backwards, looks for a spot in line, and they'll pull that swap. So now the 14 will be in a pushing position, and looks like a hole open up just in time, so they will both duck in a line, catch their breath, and try to take another stab at it. It is the top 7 that have broken away right now. Wofford, Jorgensen, Hanner, Todd, Roy, DeMerchant, and Rittenauer are within 4/10 of each other. 8th on back, trying to close in. They're not all that far off, so I would expect them to be able to do so. Back there's where you find some side-by-side. The 03 Richard Holiday looks like he's going the wrong direction, does not have any help. The 25 of Corey Henry, 38 of Jeff Bicklin, and now as well the 98 of Hooks, bringing that 83 car with him as well. So no love for the 03 Holiday going all the way to the back.
Yeah, he's heading south right now, and that 32 of Seth the Merchant, the 14 of Robbie Roy, trying to get
contact! The 83 just got turned on the straightaway. Ramon Evans hooked hard into the outside retaining wall. Caution flag will fly at a very abrupt incident, PD, going down the Daytona Super Stretch, the quick trip entry of that 83 car. Was just going to mention, because I talked about him when we were discussing the cars that was going around Holiday. Remember that he had some issues earlier on. He was on the top of the field here not too long ago, went backwards very quickly, just got a little bit staggered, and it looks like Altman stuck a nose out to get some air. He tried to get back up there for the push. He got hooked into the outside wall, came up and hit Richard Holiday in the 03. Not sure what the damage is going to be like on that entry. He did get hit pretty good on the right side. It's kind of a hit or miss on iRacing when it comes to that, but we do go back to caution after a very abrupt incident there.
So that will bring us under caution yet again here from Daytona. And, well, we're going to see possibly final pit stops here as everyone is out there right now, and they're going to come down. I assume maybe a couple guys come down pit road. I really don't know what the strategy is going to be like for a lot of these guys, but we'll see who does what and where and when. And, well, that's a whole lot of W's, and they're about to be answered. And really, in the grand scheme of things, who can take home the W. And we're going to head off to our final commercial break here. We'll take you back to the checkered flag, and stay tuned on LSRTV for the finish in the Daytona 500K.
Truex in the outside, contact made. 56 slides it into 4. Who's it going to be at the stripe? Dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Back live at the Daytona International Speedway, the World Center of Racing, playing host to our official kickoff for the Season 4 campaign of the iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series on LSRTV. Up at the LSR broadcast booth this evening, PDJ Zeller, Laura Lawson, and myself, Evan Pasoko, as we are really getting down to crunch time now, and this is going to make the math very easy on us, PD. Lights off at a pace car restart with 20 laps to go to determine who walks away with the hardware. We've had 6 different yellows so far in this evening's event, and have we seen them all? They say yellows breed yellows, and when we get down to the end of it, the intensity goes up. We're going to have 24 hungry hounds fighting in these next 20 circuits around one of the most famous super speedways in all of racing to determine, again, who walks away with not only possibly a ticket into the championship, possibly not only a $20 cash payout in the I-5, but nobody can forget about that big trophy the winner of this race gets either.
No, it certainly will be a real nice award for whoever brings it home here. I mean, the fans are all picking their picks right now, and I've heard of just about everyone could win this race. People are picking Jorgensen, people are picking the Merchant, people are picking Rodney Wofford to win this thing, but we don't know who's going to win this race. It could be the driver that you least suspect, and well, you're about to find out who it is, because we're going to have 20 laps to go on this restart, and it will come down to the very last lap. The checkered flag will fly, and, well, we're trying to figure out whose name it will be given to, but it certainly will be an exciting one, that's for sure. Are the cautions over? Maybe not. We're about to find out here from the Daytona International Speedway, the World Center of Speed, and everyone right now is stacked up, getting ready to go back up, racing here, and, well, Rodney Wofford, I really like the way he looks here. That fuel strategy might just work out for him. If he gets one more caution here, or if he did a good job saving here, who knows? It could work out for him now, but the Ford First Mustang is going to pull off and give the track back to the drivers, and, well, Rodney Wofford is going to take the green flag in the air, and he got a good restart, but not as good as Mark Jorgensen Jr., who was on it and was flat flying there, dead even at the stripe.
And at 88, can now contact the 5 car is going to get turned right in the tri-oval. They're heading towards the inside retaining wall. Tanner Mann is going to get taken out. The Pepsi Max entry tried to get down in line. The 21 of Ray Rittenauer was there. Fortunately for everybody else, nobody else involved in that. And we racing now drove behind them.
The 088 and the 06 have wrecked. They somehow kept it straight, but they did wreck. And, well, the lead pack's a lot smaller than it was before. And somehow, through all of that, Jason Altman's picked up about 10 positions, and he's in the top 10.
And somehow, through all of that, we're still green. And now more contact inside of the top 10. Really, they're going at it now. The 14 of Robbie Roy pushing everything that 18 car is worth. Thinks about going to the inside. Watch that left rear. Set the Merchant now. Dice is out of line. Hops back up. Single file for the first 4-6 now positions on that inside lane as they're clear to the outside, but you wouldn't know it. The way they're racing inside of the top 10, it's very clear that these drivers know it's go time now, and they're digging real hard now.
Digging real hard they are, and here comes the number 18 and 14 on the outside line. The 14 and 42 have found each other once again just in time, because as this race winds down to the end of it, Elliott Leach and Robbie Roy are once again friends. The last time they worked together, they were involved in an accident, but, well, they are reunited. They were so dominant at one point. We'll see what they can do, but they're going to have to get up there and challenge probably the second most dominant duo of this race. That's Rodney Wofford and Seth the Merchant, who seem to hold the upper hand right now. So as all these guys go flying right now, we're going to see who's the one that can get it done. And, well, the 18 of Jimmy Todd is holding up that outside line right now. I mean, I think Leach really wants to get up there and work with Robbie Roy, but not sure if it's doable at the moment, because Jimmy Todd is separating the two of them. Robbie Roy's trying to push Jimmy Todd. That's not going to work. A little bit ahead of him, the 38 of Jeff Figlin, and his first big race in the series is in the top 10 of that Cabela's machine, and what a run for him. Jeff Figlin making a strong first statement so far, as here come the drivers through turns 3 and 4 on that outside charge. Robbie Roy goes way up the track, almost to the wall, hangs on to it, and now we are still side by side for about the 7th position.
at a top few spots, again, remain to be single file, but that is not because they are, just hanging around. It's by strategy, because they want to be able to time this to hop out when it is the best time for them to do so, and then make something to work with. It's still the only car up high inside, or really the top 15 is that 18, and he continues to slide and slide back on the outside line. That is the 18 of Jimmy Todd that we've been talking about. He gets in behind the 40 of Josh Ball, but that's not going to be before he slides outside of the top 10 to P11. Now to the outside, the 42 of Elliott Leach, our pole sitter in this event. He's working with that Oneida William Roberts Jr., who was started again back mid-pack and has really, Petey, turned it up in these final couple of stints here to really try to get up inside these top 10 and then fight. But Seth the Merchant gonna hop up there and work with that 42. Again, those cars are affiliated with one another. They're gonna try to go the outside. The 24 wanted to join the party, thinking about jumping up in front of him with Josh Hanner, and nearly ended up in the fence when he tried to slide up, but Seth was already there. And here comes that 32 and the 42. They're dooring each other now in 1 and 2.
I think that was more of a strategic move by Josh Hanner. He didn't seem like he wanted to go high. He seemed as though he saw the 32 and 42 trying to pull down the line. He sort of let go of the gas, slid back, and went up in the south to kind of show, hey, you're not going to come down in this hole, and ruined any chance the 32 and 42 had at finding their way down low again. So Josh Hanner there with a really strategic move, if that's what I think it was, although he could have just been trying to go high, but I don't think he'd do that to his teammates in front of him. So Josh Hanner sticking it in third right now on that outside line, is trying to stick it to him, but they can't right now. They don't have the help they need, and they're going to fall back quick if they can't figure this out quickly here. Remember, they might be able to make it on gas at this point, but if my calculations are correct, which occasionally they are, the guys that did stay out still need about one more caution to make it on gas. Leach and the Merchant are currently the first guys that did pit, and well, now Corey Henry as well is up there, so we're going to keep our eyes on that, see if it comes a factor. But right now, Leach, the Merchant, trying to make it happen up high as we get closer and closer to 10 laps to go, 15 to go this time by.
I would not feel all that comfortable if I'm that 7 of Rodney Wofford, because there are 2 sets of teammates right behind you. First is that 88 of Jorgensen, the 24 of Hanner. Then on the outside, pretty much call them teammates, at the Merchant and that 42 car up on the outside lane of Elliott Leach. You got 4 people working against you. You got no real help, Petey. If the 88 and the 24 try to go, the 7 is going to lose that lead spot, because the next time he will get help is that Cabela's entry, that 38 of Jeff Viglin would have to catch up to him, and by the time he gets to the back bar with the 7, forget about it. The 88 and the 24 will be gone. So don't be surprised if that 7 makes that Chevrolet really, really wide. They work around the lap traffic of the number 8 machine, Dana Osborne, who will slide 3 laps down in the Mountain Dew Shine entry. That car has seen better days. Not the kind of season debut that he wanted to make, but this is going to get real fun real fast here. 12 cars on the lead pack here, and still the only ones trying to make something happen were the 32 and the 42. Swing and a miss on that attempt, because now they drop back down in line at the tail end of this pack.
Yeah, they dropped down in the line, and well, that didn't work too long, so that's going to, I'm not going to say end their run at the win here, but it's going to definitely hamper it here as they fall back to the last positions in this lead pack. We'll see what they can make of it, but now Rodney Wofford has the Daytona 500K in his hands. He won duel number 2. He's had a dominant speed weeks. He won the shootout. He's won everything so far in speed weeks except the 500K, and with just almost 10 laps to go, he leads this one. I really think that he could get this done. And hey, another cool story, iRacing's engine changes that they recently debuted. The 23 actually has got one of them, and well, he's back out on the racetrack, and even though he's completely irrelevant, just always like to bring up that iRacing is getting the engine changes done as he's going to rejoin the surface now. But more relevant information is the leaders are still out there running in a single file line, waiting to make their move, and well, if you're basically the top 4 right now, you want another caution to fuel safe. It's questionable if you can make it on gas right now, but if you're the 25 and 98, you're thinking, heck yeah, if this thing goes green, it could be ours if the fuel becomes a factor.
And again, to better explain that with the new damages, if you lost your engine, instead of getting too much damage, we're done. It's still pretty fast pit crew to get an engine change, but it'll take you about 30-45 minutes, whatever the case may be. But you do see some cars that been hanging around, having the ability to do that. This is a high-speed game of chess, a high-speed game of chicken at 205 miles an hour. 11 cars all stacked up, single file inside of the top 10 of them, 2 guys trying to make it work, and it's the same 2 as before, Leach and DeMerchant. To the outside lane But look at that, they have 2 other cars with them that are team cars with that 42. The 14 and the 03 are there. If all 4 of them, PD, can get to the high side, they might be able to get something going, because as we've seen with this new draft model, there is definitely strength in numbers. We'll have to see what they can do. They're about 9/10 of a second off at the top spot as they run right now. Doesn't look like anybody's budging in front of them quite yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see an outside lane really get going. A couple of guys like a 25 of Corey Henry or a 30 of Jeff Figlin jump out of line and try to get in front of them.
Yeah, and this thing is getting real have something up their sleeves. They want to make a move. They just haven't done it yet. Now I'm looking at the back of this lead pack at the very tail end are them 3 BBM cars, the 03, 42, and 14. I expect to see them get hooked up. There's a lot of teammates in this lead pack, a lot of scenarios, and, well, a lot of racing left to happen with just 10 laps to go Daytona. Now 9 to go Daytona. But one guy with really no teammate help whatsoever right now is our leader. That's the 7 of Ronnie Wofford. He doesn't have anyone to really come there and hold his hand and say, I'm going to make sure one of us wins this race. No. Everyone's looking at that 7 like a big target. He might as well be his teammate Seth the Merchant, because there's a target on the hood of that 7. Everyone wants to beat it, and there's no friends for him to rely on right now to save him.
Much like we've seen at Talladega and Daytona in most recent years, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series competition, you get down to 10 to go, and the race, it appears to be the calmest that it has been all race long. However, the tension, you can cut it with a butter knife right now, because the 48 and the 32 back to the high side, no room to get in line. Well, he'll make it work. Shoving his way back down is Josh Ball after he went up with Seth the Merchant. He cut the nose off of the 03 of Richard Holiday, and not satisfied with that is the 03. Gives him a shot coming through the tri-oval in that one. That was very, very close. And now contact coming in front of our leaders. Sideways, that's the 23 car right in the middle of it all. Oh, here we go, 3-1. Everybody's scattering, trying to hang on. And we're good for now. But a lap car that decided to run the bottom lane. Not sure what the idea was behind that, but Jared Haggerty nearly took out all the leaders.
They are still racing out there right now. Everyone is trying to lap these cars. It's becoming more difficult of a process, and man, this is getting exciting because more lap cars play a factor. I don't know what Haggerty was doing there, but it almost got too exciting for the leaders here. They're trying to make it happen now. The 03 and 32 with a mad run to the outside of the 48 and 25. If they can get around the 98 right now, that's almost key for them, because those are some of the cars we believe can make it on gas. Although, I mean, the top 5, don't count them out. They could possibly make it. They could have done a lot of saving. I mean, 50-something laps is a long way to go, but it's possible. It's doable. We will see. And do we get another caution? Probably. When and where will it happen? That's to be determined here, as the number 03 and 32 try to make it happen on the outside. The 32 runs out of steam, and he's going to have to leave the 03 up there by himself. But here comes his teammate Robbie Roy. I'm sure Robbie Roy wants to save Richard Holiday right now, because, I mean, they're going to try to get up there and take the lead, don't doubt it. But if they can get around that 98, there's a little bit of, I feel like maybe we can do this.
Well, they might get a yellow, but they don't have time for any. That time by 6 laps to go at the start-finish line. If they want a yellow and they want a restart, it has to happen now, pretty much. Once you get down to 4 laps to go or under, with no green-white checkers being in the iRacing service, this race will end with the yellow and the checkered flag, and you'll be pacing behind the pace car when it's all said and done. Nobody wants to see the iSuperSpeedway 500 end under yellow, but the way they're racing, I'd be surprised if we make it all the way. Somehow, we avoided catastrophe with the lap car slow in the racing groove. Everybody scattered, and by the way, they scattered, and if that happened early in the race, PD, people would have lifted. No, they didn't. They were keep pushing on the outside lane. They were doing everything they could. Leach. Now the 42 car of Elliott Leach, he's down on the apron. He got shot out of line after a small contact out of the tri-oval. He'll get back up on track, but the 32 and the 03 both going to get around him.
They're going to try to, at least. They don't quite have the head of steam they need yet. They're trying to, for all they're worth, and they finally do get around Elliott Leach. So that was a sketchy scenario. In this back of the pack, I don't think wants to win the race. They're sitting there beating and banging and killing each other back there. They're coming to 4 to go this time by. It's time to go. If you want to win this thing, it's time to prove it. And right now, we're looking at all these guys. Fuel's a factor, strategy's a factor, speed's a factor, and track position's a factor. The only thing that really isn't a factor right now is time. We have plenty of it to end this race, but if they wreck, we're going to end under caution here. So 4 laps to go from the World Center of Racing, and well, looking at the top 5 right now, the first car that can make it guaranteed is the 98. The top 4, they're close. They're real close. We'll see if they can do it. I mean, I think there's a chance they can, but it's going to be tight. We will watch in these closing laps if they can, Evan, as they're going to be coming around to 3 to go. This is going to be exciting.
I'm going to have to disagree with you because time is the biggest factor in this, because you can no longer sit around. You got to get going. 3 laps to go and 3 more circuits around this 2.5-mile speedway. Most importantly, this time by 2 laps to the white flag, where you get a chance to go for it. The 88, the 24, they know that the wreck may not necessarily have to happen in this still single-file freight train up front, 10 cars deep. It can happen back because there's still 16 cars plus lappers in this race, so the caution could come at any moment. How long do you hesitate? Again, the 7 is a sitting duck with teammates right behind him in 2nd and 3rd. Jeff Figlin, Greg Hooks, expect them to try to work together, but right now that 7, Rodney Wofford, I believe he needs a yellow because he is about to get freight trained by a lot of cars. He really needs to protect that lead. 2 laps to go at Daytona, this time by the stripe as we work through 3 and 4.
My calculator is flying, I'm doing calculations, but one thing that is a factor, 2 laps to go from Daytona. Rodney Wofford leads it, and it's still up in the air. Who's going to take home the checkered flag? Wofford looking stout right now with a lot of help from Mark Jorgensen, but don't expect Jorgensen and Hanner to stay in line for long. Hanner with that damage, how much can he really push Jorgensen around that 7? They're going to have to do it quick if they want to do it, and if they're going to do it, well, we'll see if they do it on the white flag here with 2 laps to go from Daytona as they head down the backstretch. These guys are all just trying to get going. This was about a 6-car battle for the win. It's getting closer. It's going to be about a 5-car battle here. Do they all make it back to the checkered flag? Who's going to take it back to the checkered flag? And, well, who's going to be the 2nd ever Daytona 500K winner? Who knows? White flag in the air. We have 1 lap to go from Daytona.
Lap traffic is going to yield high. 2.5 miles to go as the white flag is out at Daytona. They still wait. Who steps out of line first? Is it going to be too early? Do you make your move too late? Or do you time it perfectly? The 7, the 88, the 24, the 38, the 98, top 5, still single file down the back straightaway. It looks like they're going to wait for the final corner. Jorgensen now talking with his teammate Josh Hanner. The 88, the 24, you have to feel they're in the best situation. 3 and 4 for the final time. Reckon behind him maybe. Will we stay green? Nothing else till the checkered flag off of corner number 4. They can't time it at all. And no contest. Checkered flag to the 7. Rodney Wofford wins the iSuperSpeedway 500K at Daytona, and Speedy, he completes the Season 4 sweep in Daytona Beach.
Well, he still has a bunch more races to complete the sweep, but hey, he sweep the speed weeks at least here for oh, they're all wrecking after the flag there, and man, I have to talk to them.
The teammates are wrecking. The 48's like, what are you guys doing? Because those teammates, I thought that it was going to be Jorgensen and Hanner there, PD, who would have had the best shot at it. But they became separated, and they just never really got to the point where they would have had an opportunity to get hooked up. I think they tried to sag back, which is what you need to do to get the run, but they were just never able to get back hooked up. And Rodney Wofford, against all odds, I guess they might be against all odds if he can make it to the stripe to do some burnouts here, because it's carnage after the checkered flag, but does the unthinkable with the Daytona Season 4 opening week sweep, you'll call it, winning the shootout, winning his respective duel, and now walking away with the 500. That's quite the hardware that he's going to be walking away with now, just officially 1 race into the year. He'll burn it down as your iSuperSpeedway 500K winner.
We watch him burn it down here. I mean, well, I'm sure one of the questions I'm definitely going to be asking him is how much gas do they have, so we'll bring you back live here.
The 94 comes by to congratulate him, but Rodney Wofford is able to hold off 9 other hungry hounds to walk away and again complete the Daytona Speed Week sweep. Something that, you look at it on paper and say, all right, let's go and do it. But when you got to beat off, 20 plus cars, 30 plus cars, and then 40 cars in the final event to do it, a spectacular feat for that number 7 Chevrolet team. We're going to step away for the final time this evening. The stream may go off momentarily. Make sure to refresh your feed. And the post-race show from Daytona International Speedway is underway. We'll talk to the top 3, and we'll get a word with your iSuperSpeedway 500K champion, Rodney Wofford. Post-race on LSRTV. You won't want to miss this.
thing that makes life so interesting. The theory of evolution claims only the strong shall survive. Maybe so. Maybe so. But the theory of competition says just because they're the strong doesn't mean they can't get their asses kicked. That's right. See, what every long shot come from behind underdog will tell you is this. The other guy may in fact be the favorite. The odds may be stacked against you, fair enough. But what the odds don't know is this isn't a math test. This is a completely different kind of test. One where passion. He decides to flip the script and take a pass on yelling uncle. And then suddenly, as the old saying goes, we got ourselves a game.
Back live at the World Center of Racing, the Daytona International Speedway, where a Speed Weeks comes to a close. Speed Weeks that stretches back nearly to the season finale, because right after that we were back at it. The winner of the shootout, the winner of his respective duel, and now the winner of the second annual in Daytona 500K with the iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series is Rodney Wofford. Ecstatic for that number 7 team as they perform the sweep. But to get the post-race show kicked off on LSRTV, we have caught up with our third place finisher down on the pit lane. He pilots at number 24 for Hendrick Motorsports, and they looked to be in a prime position to be able to try to steal that win there at the end. We've caught up with the driver of the 24, Josh Hanner. Josh, first off, congrats on the top 3 to get this season, yes, officially kicked off, although you guys earned points 1 week ago. You started back in 22nd for this one via those qualification races. Teammates, and Henrik was one of them, that was very strong tonight. We saw them up front. You and Mark there working together. You were able to come home with the top 3. What was this race like on lap 1 all the way through 124?
Well, I was trying to just kind of take it easy, and I got caught up in a couple wrecks there in the middle of the race, and I had some damage on the left front. Then they had a big wreck there near the end, and I stayed out and got into the top 5, and I said, I'm just going to stay out. And I thought it would be fine if I had a car in front of me and a car behind me, and that's how it worked out. So I was committed to stay right where I was. I knew if I poked my nose out, I was going to go backwards. So it was really great to have Mark in front of me there because he could drag the brake for me if I needed to catch back up. So it just really worked out. I feel like I stole the top 5.
It's a solid finish for sure, and you know, you talk about all the strategy that comes into this. We do have 4 of these endurance races that are in this series and for this 2015 Season 4 campaign. You know, we always talk about it, the difference between these endurance races, the difference between these feature races. One of the big storylines at the end of last season was that you guys were tossed in, you know, without much practice on this new build. Kind of came right in the middle of the championship. You guys have a lot more time to work with it. You know, what are your, you know, maybe updated thoughts on the way that you have to work this new draft and how you're going to have to maybe approach these races differently now that we exit round 1 and we go forward to Daytona, Talladega, there on in the B main and the A mains versus the endurance races in comparison to our shorter shootouts?
You know, the draft model is a little tough now. You can't make a move like you used to. Pulling out, you know, just 2 cars on the outside is not going to work anymore. You really got to plan when you get your run and then know what you're going to do with it. You got to do a lot of anticipating that you didn't used to have to do. I kind of like it is, but sometimes the racing can be a little boring because you wind up single file. I think tonight the problem was that the setup got a little bit tight. So after about 6 laps, the outside line really couldn't go. Hopefully it won't be like that when we go to Talladega.
You talk about moving forward to Talladega. We're on from Speed Weeks, and now the bulk of this championship campaign really gets set to get going here. You know, what was your assessment on, you know, how you guys performed, and What are you, looking to attack? Because a lot has changed in this new season. Still winning, you're in, but you guys are going to have to deal with Daytona circa '07, those rough high banks, as well as chase eliminations.
Well, we're going to approach it the same way we've been doing it. The guys on my team, we kind of like to ride in the back until the end and just kind of be there because you only get one reset. So we want to make sure we have a car at the end. But at the same time, with this build, it doesn't lend itself much to that. You kind of have to be a little more aggressive. So it's going to be a balancing act. I generally like to err on the side of caution. I think a couple other guys on the team like to be up there in the mix. So we'll just kind of have to see how it goes.
Your team worked very well one season ago. Now team championship standings as well, and a team title is now going to be on the line rolling forward now that the teams have been restricted to a certain size, and those are going to be tabulated throughout the week. Does that maybe change your strategy as far as, you'll go out there and maybe although you already have a win and you can really go for more checkered flags considering that you'd already be locked into that championship if you were to get a win? Instead of doing that, would that maybe cause you guys to take it a little bit easy and really focus on team points? Or is that kind of a deal where the team points come if they come and you guys are just going out there business as usual and you're looking for the best results each week?
Well, we're going for business as usual for now. We want to get all four of our cars in the chase, so we're going to try and get each of us a win. If that's to happen, then we might start being a little more cautious and just trying to get decent finishes to keep us up in the team championships. But right now, that's kind of in the back of our minds. We want to get all four of us in the chase with a win solidly so we don't have to worry about it come to that last race before the cutoff.
BD's down with your teammate, but before we get to him, sponsors and shout-outs, all of that good business. Who are the people that makes this kind of a run, and who's the people that making this Season 4 run possible for you and that whole team?
I want to give a shout out to all my teammates on Hanerick Motorsports. Also want to give a shout out to Kyle Gary. He's the best painter on iRacing, hands down. I want to thank Rod Flagg for putting on the league, and I want to thank you guys for doing the broadcast. You do a fantastic job every week.
We appreciate the kind words, Josh. Thanks for talking with us. Got to give you props there for rocking that 24 car. Thanks for talking with us again. Congrats on the top 3, and I'm sure we'll see you and that Hanerick gang up front in weeks to come. We'll see you in Talladega.
All right, bud. See you later.
Again, that is your third place finisher after starting in 22nd position. Comes home with a P3 at the end of the night. Josh Haner comes home with a podium. Now a little bit further down pit road with another car in that same stable. PDJ Zeller, you've caught up with one of the fan favorites that nearly put it in victory lane. You're with the driver of the 88 car.
I'm with Mark Jorgensen Jr. And Mark, you won the IROC race. You and me were celebrating that earlier. I didn't get to interview you, unfortunately, but now I'm here interviewing you as you finished second in the iSuperSpeedway 500K at Daytona, man. Tell me, take me through your race and how it feels to finish second here in this event.
Well, first of all, PD, we definitely need to try to get some broadcast guys down there on these IROC races. That was pretty amazing to win that. But as far as the 500, had a great starting position, got P6. First 10, 15 laps of the race went pretty well, pretty uneventful. We got single file pretty quick, was able to log some laps, this, that, and the other. I don't know, probably about the quarter mark of the race, I ended up getting into it with Rod a little bit, kind of jacked my car up, ended up having to use a reset, kind of put me in the back. So, it just worked out to where I was able to get back up there and finish second. That last caution I think we had wiped out a bunch of cars. I was running 16th just prior to that. And then after the cycle of pits, I was third. So it just worked out to where I was able to get on the bottom, get on the back of that number 7 machine and just push into the win.
Well, Mark, certainly a goal of yours has to be make this chase. In the next few weeks is, early in the season, the chase is in mind, but it's not for a while. Is your goal to get a win? So, like your teammate Hanner said, you don't have to worry about getting a win in the very last week and make the chase. I mean, you did miss the chase last season. I know you're very disappointed. I'm sure you want to turn that around this year.
Yeah, we definitely want to get a win, and we want to get that win pretty quick. Tonight, it probably could have happened. Probably could have used a shove from Hanner. We might have been able to get around that Rodney Wofford machine, but Hanner had a lot of left front damage, so I was just kind of, biding my time, just basically content. I was happy to finish second. To me, that feels like a win after running 124 laps. But yeah, we definitely want to get that win and get it early. Last season, I just got it way too late. Doesn't matter if you got to win in the chase if you're not a part of the chase. So we definitely want to get that win early. I got every Talladega race circled. I haven't won there, and I'm looking forward to each Talladega race.
And what's your opinion on the Daytona 2007 edition? I mean, it's going to be a lot more bumpy, it's going to be a lot more exciting, and do you think that could be a track that could possibly be a Mark Jorgensen Jr.-esque track?
I don't know if it's necessarily going to fit me, only because of the bumps and tonight, with the new pavement Daytona, the after about 25, 30 laps on the tires, the car was just super, super tight. So I think you're going to have to kind of pedal it in the corners at the 2007 version. I hope it fits me, but I don't like driving tight cars. I like them to be a little loose. But we'll definitely see. But I'm definitely going to be looking forward to it. I also got the 2007 circled on my calendar. I've only raced there one time, a couple years back. So kind of looking forward to going back, and hopefully I can get a win there. I think that'd be pretty cool.
All right, Mark, and last question. So obviously Henrik had a strong reign here tonight. Is it your goal obviously you want to get a win for yourself, but is your goal also in these coming weeks to really help Henrik get a chokehold on this team championship?
Yeah. I'm obviously I'm going to try to go out there and win every race. If that can't happen, hopefully I'm going to top 5 them to death, and I'll make the chase off of points, and hopefully when I get to the chase, I'll just top 5 them to death again and hopefully win the championship. But yeah, I think that would be pretty cool to win this team championship. I think we looked pretty good out there tonight. Obviously, finished second and third, so that's definitely going to help us out in the championship points and the team championship points.
All right, Mark, well, before I let you go catch up with all the boys at the Henrik shop, who do you got to think? Who makes that for you in the number 88 crew?
Just the shop and the guys that I'm teamed up with. We kind of feed off of each other. Sometimes we're down in the dumps, but a lot of the guys talk to each other and kind of boost their esteem up. But just a big shout out to Henrik Motorsports. Again, they brought a fast car. We just got to kind of work on the car a little bit to get it to turn. It was, like I said, it was way too tight after 25, 30 laps. But other than that, I want to give a big shout out to Rod Flagg. He does an amazing job with this league. I'm just so happy to be a small piece of it. But that's about it. Definitely looking forward to the season. I think we got something for him, Petey.
All right, Mark, well, I wish you luck, and congratulations on your second tonight.
Thanks, Petey.
That second place finisher tonight, Mark Jorgensen Jr., and meanwhile, the winner of this big 500K event is caught up in victory lane with Evan Pasoko, Rodney Wofford.
You were down in Gatorade Victory Lane, a place that this number 7 has been quite a few times in these last few weeks. Climb it out at the number 7 Wicked Motorsports Chevrolet SS is your winner. It is second inaugural Daytona 500K to kick off this Season 4 campaign with the iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series, completing the Speed Week sweep, which isn't something that we even bother talking about a possibility of because it just doesn't happen. But he walked away with the checkered flag at a shootout, won his duel, and now caps it off in the big victory lane. Rodney, you got quite a bit of hardware coming your way in these next few days. First off, congratulations. How did you do it? 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago, and then tonight as well.
I don't know how I did that. I did that with a great team, some great other team there that helped me out. That's how that was done. Just working this draft, working away to the front, keeping it up there.
It's such a big event to win, to get the season kicked off, and although we earned points 1 week ago, and although you already got yourself essentially locked into that championship with that win in that duel number 2 1 week ago, it's still nice to be able to come to the main event, 124 laps, 500 kilometers on the board, the main event, to really get this kicked off and win such a prestigious one. What does this kind of a win mean? You won last week, it's a win at Daytona. You could win at Talladega in 1 week's time, it's a win. You can win at Daytona in 2 weeks. But this is a win in the Daytona 500K, the most prestigious event that we're going to see all season. What does it mean to be the one that walks away on top of 40 cars?
It means everything. I mean, that's one of our biggest, if not biggest, race right there. It's awesome to sweep the speed weeks, back to back to back. I'm on top of the world with that, with all thanks to Rod Flagg right there.
And now you look forward because there have been a lot of changes that have entered into the Season 4 campaign. You guys had a new draft build that you had to work with at the tail end of the last season. You guys have had a little bit more seat time with it. What are your thoughts on it? Because it looked like things weren't going to be very good for you because there were two teammates right behind you. You were able to make that 7 car, keep them at bay, and you held them off. How did you like this new drafty model, and what do you have to do to be able to control it like you did tonight and be dominant up front?
This draft model, it can be fun if you work it just right and you got the right group of guys. That's really what it depends about. And running there, yeah, it was worrisome with those two teammates behind me. I had my teammate there, so if they did make a move, he would be behind me. And hopefully, I could sit there and have my teammate come up and still hold that P1 spot. But tonight, the cards fell right, as they did the past 2 weeks, and just worked out phenomenally. With this package, the tires tonight, the lefts were very important. That it was just pushing up the track on entry and pushing up exit really bad on old tires, and that was very key.
So you now have 2 iSuperSpeedway winner stickers on that car, and your team is now 4th in the team standings, albeit only 2 races in. But again, that's a team championship standing that you guys want to fight for. How are you going to get Donnie, Seth, and Josue into this championship as well? Get all 4 of those Wicked Motorsports entries into that championship hunt. What's the game plan?
Win all the races. Put them up front, push them, give them those wins. That's the mentality of it right there. It's what we're going to go for.
I like that. Not only take the first 3, but take them all, Rodney. You take home the biggest win of the season, and I'm sure you want to be sitting in the exact same place when we head back to Daytona for the final time as a champion in this series. Before we let you go, I know it's going to be quite a celebration, as it has been for these last 2 weeks. Sponsors and shout-outs, all of those people behind the scenes. Who makes this kind of a run and, well, I guess a checkered flag run possible for you and everybody on the team?
Everybody here at the league, Rod, number 1, him, he is the man. He is the man. You guys, Evan, Petey, or all you all, Wicked Motorsports, I got to say thanks to Henrik there, and I'm actually wearing some Nationwide Insurance Appeal. I throw that out there. I got to thank my family and, everybody here, Donnie and Seth and all them. That's what does it.
Well, again, Ronnie, we wanted to thank you for talking with us. Can't say enough. Congratulations. I wasn't here last week, so congrats on your dual win, and congratulations, my friend. You are the winner of the iSuperSpeedway Daytona 500K. Enjoy it, but be ready for work in 1 week's time. We'll see you at Talladega again.
All right, thank you, Evan. I will be ready for sure.
It is the car that has dominated this 2015 Season 4 campaign so far. Rodney Wofford, PD, takes home the Speed Weeks Daytona sweep in dominating fashion against all odds, holding off teammates and affiliate cars and all of that to walk away on top of the mountain. Now's when the fun begins. The hype of Daytona. We haven't left Daytona in a month, from the championship to the shootout, the duels, and now the 500. We'll finally be back in Lincoln, Alabama in 1 week's time at Talladega, which will be exciting to get out onto those high banks, a little bit more room, and these guys can continue to adapt with this new drafty model. But it was a great 500K for sure.
Yeah, we're heading back to Talladega. Great speed weeks. Rodney Wofford won everything except the one duel he wasn't in, and wasn't much he could have done about that. So he certainly will be trying to find his way to victory lane at Talladega. We'll be keeping our eyes on him, keeping our eyes on everyone from that team. Should be a whole lot of fun. And you know what? I'm excited. I cannot wait to get back out there for the next iSuperSpeedway race. One of the best leagues in all of iRacing, and man, we're gonna see a whole lot more excitement to come in these next few races. Stay tuned, folks. You won't want to miss it here on LSRTV.
Rod Flagg, who is the Season 3 iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series champion, and Greg Hooks as well, who is the iSuperSpeedway IROC champion as well. We'll talk more about that as the season goes on. They go on the defensive, but it has been a story of the number 7, Rodney Wofford, who has won every time we have been on air this season, and it's going to be the same deal, same time, and same place at Talladega in 1 week's time for round 2 of the iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series Season 4 campaign. Not a car in the I-5 bonus won it tonight, so that's going to be bumped up to $25, and we look forward to seeing you in Lincoln, Alabama. The full results have been going across the screen as we've talked to the top 3 finishers as Wofford walks away victorious. We got more tracks added, we got chase eliminations, we got team points, and so much more, and we're glad to have you with us on LSRTV, and we're glad to have iSuperSpeedway on LSRTV for this Season 4 campaign. So as we step away for the World Center of Racing, on behalf of my broadcast crew tonight, PDJ Zeller, Laura Lawson is always pushing the buttons, myself, Evan Pasoko, thank you for tuning in. Congratulations to the number 7 Wicked Motorsports entry of Rodney Wofford. He'll go into defensive. We'll see you in 1 week's time from Talladega Superspeedway. Until then, check us out online at livesimracing.com and facebook.com/livesimracingtv. We'll see you at Talladega.